Chapter 1026. C_T, Genius 1 second. Remember love/go/little? We provide you with interesting novels to read. Advertisement. In the 7th round, Song Wushang started his challenge. His target was Night Sorrow. Hearing Song Wushang's challenge, Night Sorrow stood up and went to the stage. Song Wushang is my younger brother. So, you should know why you died today. Song Wushang pointed his sword at Night Sorrow. He is trash, and so are you. If you want to kill me, then show me your strength. Night Sorrow waved his reincarnation spear and replied coldly. No one touched you in the first few rounds because they didn't use their full strength. Do you really think you have the strength to take the first seat? After this round, you will leave this place. After speaking, Song Wushang charged at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow used his reincarnation spear to meet the attack. Song Wushang wanted to kill him, and he wanted to kill Song Wushang. Both sides wanted to kill each other. After the battle, Night Sorrow knew why Song Wushang was so confident and dared to talk big. After Song Wushang used his trump card, Night Sorrow understood where his confidence came from. Song Wushang controlled sword intent, and it was a sword intent that contained a little bit of death intent. Although it wasn't a pure high-level death intent, even a little bit of it could increase one's combat power. However, Night Sorrow's will of space was a pure high-level intent. He directly suppressed Song Wushang. After suppressing his attributes and speed, he directly used his reincarnation spear to bombard Song Wushang, forcing him to retreat. Among the high-level attributes, the life attribute and death attribute were considered to increase the level of life. However, in battle, the time attribute and space attribute were superior to the life attribute and death attribute. This guy is really overestimating himself. Does he think he can take the first seat with a little death sword intent? He is really thinking too much, Long Jin said. That's right. Even if Night Sorrow can't make the first trade, he won't be able to take it down. He might lose his life, the purple-haired woman sitting in the 4th seat said. Night Sorrow's will of space was augmented by the space law and space energy. His speed was raised to the limit as he attacked Song Wushang from all directions. Night Sorrow didn't want Song Wushang to leave the arena. He wanted to finish him off. At this moment, the Tsangyan monarch was tapping his fingers on the table as he narrowed his eyes and looked at the stage. As a monarch realm cultivator, he was naturally able to see the situation clearly. Tsangyan, I don't want to see what happened to Monarch Demon Moon ever again, Monarch Zishao said. The Tsangyan sovereign looked at the purple firmament sovereign and the other sovereigns. He didn't say anything. He knew that Song Wushang wasn't a match for Night Sorrow, but he felt that Song Wushang would admit defeat when the time was right, and the consequences wouldn't be too severe. But in reality, Night Sorrow had already thought of this. After heavily striking Song Wushang twice with his spear, he immediately unleashed the soul-extinguishing slash. After being struck by Night Sorrow's 2 spear strikes, Song Wushang's true chi and blood became unstable, allowing Night Sorrow's soul-extinguishing slash to enter his spirit sea. After the soul-extinguishing slash, Night Sorrow unleashed his space blade. After Night Sorrow unleashed his space blade, it directly tore through space and chopped Song Wushang's head in half. His spirit sea and God Pearl were naturally destroyed, and he couldn't be more dead. Serves you right. How dare you provoke others? You're really blind. Chen Bai cursed. That's what it means to overestimate oneself, Qing Yin said. At this moment, the green stone ground beneath the Tsangyan monarch's feet cracked, and black energy swirled around his body. His heart was boiling with anger. Song Wushang was his outstanding descendant, but he couldn't do anything about it when he was killed right in front of his eyes. Night Sorrow took Song Wushang's storage ring and weapon, then returned to his seat. As for the Saint Monarch crystal, it had already been shattered by Night Sorrow's soul-extinguishing slash and space rend. Next up was the 8th round of challenges. The 8th round was even more intense because there were only 2 rounds left. It could be said that even if they didn't have a 100% chance of winning, they still had to use their full strength. Night Sorrow grabbed the reincarnation spear. He had a premonition that there would be a great battle between the top 10 in this round, because there were only 3 rounds left, and he had to use his full strength. The reality was just as Night Sorrow had predicted. After reaching the top 20, they started to fight crazily. They might die in battle, but if they couldn't enter the king's realm, they would still die when their lifespan ran out. Therefore, everyone had a reason to fight to the death. Xian Ziwei used her dark destruction will and also fought her way into the top 10. She was ranked 9th, right behind Shen Bai. The top 10 also started to fight, but no one challenged Night Sorrow. Qing Yin chose to forfeit. She could accept being ranked 5th, but after the girl ranked 4th stood up, she thought for a moment and forfeited again. Long Jean stood up and nodded at Night Sorrow, "Let's fight. This way, I will be convinced." Night Sorrow stood up and walked up to the stage with Long Jean. At this moment, the spectators who were still discussing quieted down. The battle between the 3rd and 1st place was the most exciting battle of the first Saint of the 100 Worlds. This was because everyone knew that Long Jin's strength was about the same as Saint King Slaughter's. He was even stronger than Saint King Slaughter. Looking at Night Sorrow, Long Jin took out his endless sky saber and waved it behind him. "Come. If you defeat me, no one will challenge you. You think too much. I think I still want to fight. Come on. I also want to experience the endless sky saber technique," Night Sorrow said. Long Jin waved his endless sky saber and used the endless sky saber technique on Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow used his will of space to enhance his movement technique. Then, he used the time law to attack. This way, under the influence of the time law, Long Jin's continuous saber attacks were not smooth. He could only rely on brute force to persist. At this moment, Night Sorrow also realized why Long Jin's law felt familiar. It was because Long Jin's law contained the void law. However, it was very rare. It only contained a little bit of the extreme water law. After fighting for 15 minutes, Long Jin retreated and admitted defeat. He was already at a disadvantage when Night Sorrow did not use his soul attack or the will of space law. There was no point in continuing the fight. The two of them bowed to the main seats and returned to their seats. I%head_hair, the 8th round of challenges was completed. Next was the 9th round of battles. The sovereigns in the main seats did not speak. Some looked at Night Sorrow, while others were thinking. They had all discovered Night Sorrow's time law and time law. In a cultivator's path of cultivation, there were some special situations where they comprehended some rare laws and wills. For example, a cultivator with the water element could comprehend the laws of life and some wills related to life. However, they didn't have the same source of energy, so they were only stronger than cultivators with the ordinary element, but not in the category of advanced element. However, Night Sorrow was not. Night Sorrow's time law and time law were of the same source. If he could comprehend the time law, he would be the real king of time. In addition, everyone knew that Night Sorrow already had space law and will. The current situation meant that Night Sorrow had a second high-level element. The sovereigns had to pay attention to this situation. "Night Sorrow, your first place is secured," Long Jin said. He accepted his defeat wholeheartedly. "One more battle," Night Sorrow said as he looked at the woman in the 4th seat. Chapter 1027. C_T, Genius 1 second Remember Love/Go/Small? Show on Net provides you with wonderful novels to read. Alright, then I'll see what kind of strength you have to be able to give me a sense of danger. Night Sorrow said. Your senses are very accurate. I won't let you down. If you only have the strength you had just now, then you'll lose for sure. The purple-haired woman looked at Night Sorrow and said. Night Sorrow smiled. He knew that this woman had a trump card. Moreover, no one had challenged her before, so he didn't know how strong she was. After the 9th round, it was time for the top 10. Chen Bai challenged the woman who was ranked 4th. Ha ha ha. Chen Bai was very strong, but in fact, he was not the purple-haired woman's opponent. The purple-haired woman was extremely fast. Chen Bai's gravity suppression was also offset by the black and white stripes on her body. After a moment, Chen Bai was defeated. Chen Bai was ranked 8th. Night Sorrow did not know the people in front of him, but he did not challenge them because the people in front of him could not fight. In a situation where he could not defeat them and expose his strength, it was better to protect his position. Then, it was time for the 4th place. The purple-haired woman stood up and said, "I don't need to rest." "Alright, who do you want to challenge?" Sovereign Yu Qiong asked. He knew that the purple-haired woman did not consume any energy when she fought with Chen Bai. Night Sorrow. The purple-haired woman looked at Night Sorrow and said, "The website's pages are clean and there are few advertisements. I like this kind of website the most. You must give it a good review." Night Sorrow held his reincarnation spear and went to the arena. "My name is Xiao Zimo, titled Dual Saint King. In this 100 Realms first sage ceremony, the only person who can be my opponent is you." The purple-haired woman looked at Night Sorrow and said, "Thank you for thinking highly of me." Night Sorrow held his spear and cupped his hands towards Xiao Zimo. "Then what is your title?" Xiao Zmo looked at Yi Shang and asked. She wanted to know Yi Shang's title because she wanted to know. "I'm sorry. It's just like when you're wearing a veil. Some things are inconvenient," Night Sorrow said. "Then, take this." Xiao Zimo's body shook as she rushed forward. The scimitar in her hand slashed towards Night Sorrow. Xiao Zimo's scimitar is different from Zhu Jiuyun's scimitar. Zhu Jiuyun's scimitar was shaped like a crescent moon, which is good for cutting. On the other hand, Xiao Zimo's scimitar was long and narrow, which is better for chopping. Night Sorrow waved his reincarnation spear and faced Xiao Zimo's scimitar. He didn't know how strong Xiao Zmo was, but he wanted to test it out. As the weapons collided, the two separated. Xiao Zmo retreated the most, but Night Sorrow also felt uncomfortable. A kind of energy flowed through the reincarnation spear and entered Night Sorrow's arm. One kind of energy has 2 kinds of power. One kind is soft and tricky, and the other kind is extremely violent. Night Sorrow's arm shook a bit and offset the energy. After all, his body can't be damaged by just any kind of energy. After feeling Xiao Zimo's energy, Night Sorrow knew why Chen Bai was defeated so quickly. It was because the soft and violent energy attacked at the same time. It was really overbearing. Night Sorrow also understood the origin of Xiao Zimo's title. It's really 2 kinds of energy. When Xiao Zmo and Chen Bai fought, the black and white stripes on her body appeared. Night Sorrow understood that it was the light and dark energy. It can also be called the yin and yang energy. Feeling that Xiao Zimo's energy was difficult to deal with, Night Sorrow used the power of desolates to protect his arms. This way, he can ignore the negative effects of Xiao Zimo's energy. With the power of desolates protecting his body, Night Sorrow continued to fight with Xiao Zmo. Feeling that Night Sorrow's speed was very fast, Xiao Zmo's body emitted a halo of light. It was the power of the 2 kinds of will and law. At this time, her speed soared. The scimitar in her hand quickly slashed, one slash after another. Night Sorrow's energy shield cut through the air. His speed was comparable to Xiao Zmo's. The 2 people's weapons constantly clashed. With the power of desolates protecting his arms and Night Sorrow's body, Xiao Zmo's energy couldn't do anything to Night Sorrow. However, Night Sorrow's attack that was infused with the power of desolates made Xiao Zmo uncomfortable. On the stage, the 2 people were fighting fast. The situation was still balanced, but everyone knew that neither of them used their killing moves. Night Sorrow wasn't in a hurry because he didn't have a time limit. If Xiao Zmo couldn't defeat him in half an hour, then she would lose. Night Sorrow didn't use the will of space. He wanted to see what other killing moves Xiao Zmo had. Very good. The black and white halo on Xiao Zmo's body rippled to her weapon. In other words, her attack was also infused with the power of the 2 kinds of will. Xiao Zmo's attack was infused with will. Night Sorrow's law of time was displayed, blocking Xiao Zmo's attack. This was the tyrannical power of the time attribute. The power of law could resist less than 10% of the power of the two kinds of will. This is a true battle between dragons and tigers. Purple Cloud Sovereign said. That's right. According to Xiao Zimo's current performance, she won't be able to take the first seat. No Beginning Sovereign said. The other sovereigns nodded. Night Sorrow had only displayed a part of his battle strength. He didn't use the space attribute that he was most proficient in, nor did he use the power of the will of space. I know you are difficult to deal with. Again. At this time, a halo appeared on Xiao Zimo's body again. This time, it was a light blue halo. At the same time, her speed soared again. This was the talent of the Phantom Clan. Xiao Zimo's speed couldn't keep up. After Night Sorrow blasted out his spear, he also displayed the power of the will of space. With the support of the space energy, his speed and attack strength suddenly increased. He was still able to suppress Xiao Zimo. This was the tyrannical power of a high-level attribute. If you have an ultimate move, then use it. It's not enough now. Night Sorrow said as he suppressed Xiao Zimo again. At this time, a series of shadows appeared behind Xiao Zimo's body. Then, the shadows condensed and attacked Night Sorrow. At this time, the people who were originally sitting stood up. Not only the cultivators who came to watch the battle, but the participants also stood up. So strong. Phantom Clan, Night Sorrow is going to suffer now. Long Jin's face changed. Long Jin, who was born in the Hai Lan royal family, naturally saw the clues. So strong. Saint King Slaughter's face was full of shock. On the stage, Night Sorrow was also very shocked. With his soul power enveloping the stage, he naturally knew that these shadows were energy doppelgangers and had the ability to attack. Night Sorrow directly increased the will of space from 6 to 9 and added it to his protective air shield. His body drew an arc and dodged the encirclement. Then, he used the reincarnation spear to kill one of the shadow doppelgangers. At this time, Night Sorrow was also fighting with all his strength. The will of space was added to the reincarnation spear. Then, the rule of nothingness and the true chi of nothingness were poured into the reincarnation spear. He directly cut through space and stabbed at one of the shadow doppelgangers. Then, the energy on the reincarnation spear exploded, and the shadow doppelgangers were destroyed. The original 6 shadow doppelgangers became 5. Just as Night Sorrow was about to kill the second shadow doppelgangers, the situation changed. Chapter 1028. C_T, Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by small? Talk Web, providing you with wonderful novels to read. At this time, Xiao Zimo's real body and 6 energy clones were rushing towards Night Sorrow. Look, JC is in the middle of a battle. Yi Shang exhaled a breath of air. His protective shield slashed in an arc towards Xiao Zimo's real body. With his soul power locked onto her, Yi Shang naturally knew which one was Xiao Zimo's real body. But at this time, Xiao Zimo's real body retreated. She didn't want to take the risk. Her soul clone was enough. As long as her soul clone could injure Night Sorrow, her goal would be achieved. But how could Night Sorrow let Xiao Zimo's real body run away? Countless space blades flew out from behind him, flying in all directions. It was a large area attack. At the same time, Xiao Zimo's real body continued to rush forward. Xiao Zimo's real body retreated. The energy clones continued to rush towards Night Sorrow. 2 of the energy clones directly slashed towards Night Sorrow's path. Golden Phoenix soft armor. Night Sorrow roared. A golden feathered soft armor appeared on Night Sorrow's body. 2 blade lights slashed towards Night Sorrow's body. What shocked everyone was that Night Sorrow let go of his energy shield and directly used the Golden Phoenix soft armor to block the attack. The 2 blade lights made Night Sorrow's Golden Phoenix soft armor flash twice, but it didn't break. As Wu Lingfei's cultivation increased, the Golden Phoenix soft armor's level also increased. However, it still couldn't block 50% of Xiao Zimo's real body's energy attack. Night Sorrow retracted his energy shield, but there was still the will of space to block the attack. It weakened the attack of Xiao Zimo's clones, so the Golden Phoenix soft armor was still able to defend. Quick update, the website's page is clean, there are few advertisements. I love this kind of website the most. Is he confident in his defense and not willing to use energy? Seven Rain Sovereign tapped his finger on the armrest of his chair. If he is confident, then he is a smart person. Because in this kind of battle, energy consumption is very important. No beginning Sovereign nodded. At this time, Night Sorrow, whose speed has reached the limit, caught up with Xiao Zimo and directly used Soul Extinguishing Slash. The dark purple Soul Destruction Crescent Moon Blade, with the help of the Will of Space, cut through the space and attacked Xiao Zimo's Divine Sense C. Following that, Night Sorrow's Reincarnation Spear also arrived and directly pierced Xiao Zimo's chest. However, when the Reincarnation Spear pierced into Xiao Zimo's body, Night Sorrow knew that something had changed. Xiao Zimo's body had changed. It was no longer a body of flesh and blood, but a phantom energy body. The Reincarnation Spear shook, and Yishan shattered the illusory energy body. He also retrieved the Crescent Moon Blade of the Soul Extinguishing Slash. However, at this time, Xiao Zimo's two illusory energy bodies slashed towards Yishan's back. The Golden Phoenix soft armor flashed twice and disintegrated, returning to Night Sorrow's shoulder. It had withstood 4 attacks, which was already its limit. The main reason was that Night Sorrow's last attack was a desperate one. He felt confident, so he did not consider the attacks of Xiao Zimo's phantom energy bodies. If something happened to Xiao Zimo's body, the phantom energy bodies would dissipate. Knowing that his tactic was wrong, Night Sorrow's body flashed and dodged the attacks of the other phantom energy bodies. Once again, he locked onto Xiao Zimo's body. Pushing his body to the limit, he used Soul Extinguishing Slash again to kill Xiao Zimo's body. But the result was the same, he killed another phantom energy body. Night Sorrow knew that he was in a difficult situation, because if this continues, he will not be able to win. All the spectators knew that Night Sorrow's strength was stronger than Xiao Zimo, but if he did not solve the problem of the phantom energy bodies, he would not be able to win. Of course, if Night Sorrow relied on his speed to dodge, Xiao Zimo would not be able to win. In the current situation, Night Sorrow's actions were not shameful, because Xiao Zimo's tactic was not unyielding. If Xiao Zimo's body kept dodging, it would be normal for others to avoid the battle. Xiao Zimo was also very helpless. Before, when she used her phantom energy body, her body and her phantom energy body would fight together. But now, if she got close to Night Sorrow's soul attack secret skill, plus his own tyrannical strength, she would not be able to withstand it. Switching between the body and the phantom energy body also required energy. Deadlock. If this continues, Xiao Zimo will not be able to take the first place. Night Sorrow's speed is too fast, and his space attribute is supported by the will of space. This is too overbearing. If he does not fight, no one below King can win. Yuan Ling Realm Lord expressed his opinion. Running away is not his personality, he should be facing difficulties head-on. Seven Rain Sovereign said. Facing difficulties head-on? At this time, relying on speed to avoid the battle is the correct choice. Profound Sky Sovereign looked at Seven Rain Sovereign and said. Seven Rain Sovereign shook his head, we have lived for too long, our thoughts may have become numb. We only think about the result. In fact, the process is also very important. I feel that Night Sorrow is a person who cares about the process. He is young, and his blood surges. Yes, this little guy is not that kind of slippery. He can accept victory and defeat, but he is absolutely unwilling to accept a draw. Sea Wave Sovereign nodded towards Seven Rain Sovereign. At this time, Night Sorrow on the stage roared, if you can switch between the body and the phantom energy body, then let me see how many phantom energy bodies you have for me to kill. After roaring, Night Sorrow took out the sky-piercing spear with the 5-claw pterosaur tendon. His body flashed as he rushed towards the nearest phantom energy body. When Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear pierced the phantom energy body and shattered it, the other phantom energy bodies also rushed towards him. Among them was Xiao Zimo's body. Night Sorrow obviously knew which one was Xiao Zimo's body. He did not have time to defend with his reincarnation spear, so he used the sky-piercing spear to block Xiao Zimo's long and narrow curved blade. Then, he used the soul-extinguishing slash towards one of the phantom energy bodies in front of him. Then, he used the reincarnation spear, which was strengthened by the will of space, to stab violently. When Night Sorrow killed this phantom doppelganger with a single spear strike, the other two phantom energy bodies' long and narrow scimitars fell on Night Sorrow's back. Chi-la! The sound of cloth tearing could be heard. 2 cuts appeared on the back of Yi Sorrow's battle robe, but there was no blood. Night Sorrow used the sky-piercing spear in his left hand to block Xiao Zimo's attack. Then, he used the reincarnation spear in his right hand to attack the 2 phantom energy bodies behind him. However, the phantom energy bodies that were destroyed by Night Sorrow were once again restored to their original 6 phantom energy bodies. If it was someone else, they might have panicked, but Yi Shang, who had been fighting, didn't panic. He noticed that Xiao Zimo's aura had weakened. This proved that killing the phantom energy clone was effective against Xiao Zimo close combat. Night Sorrow held the sky-piercing spear in his left hand. He used the rules of time and the power of time to resist Xiao Zimo's attack. Then, he used the reincarnation spear in his right hand, his feet, knees, and shoulders at the same time. He started close combat with the phantom energy bodies. Humanoid vicious beast. Humanoid weapon. Everyone watching the battle had the same thought. At this time, Night Sorrow was really fierce. Even if Xiao Zimo's phantom energy bodies had 50% of Xiao Zimo's phantom energy body's energy, it was still at the level of a peak Saint King. Maybe there was a difference in energy, but with the help of battle techniques, it could definitely reach the level of a peak Saint King. Night Sorrow's tyrannical battle strength was displayed in close combat with 7 opponents who were at the same level as him. Chapter 1029. Genius 1 second. Remember to love novels, providing you with wonderful novels to read. To read this book, please go to every time Night Sorrow destroyed one of Xiao Zimo's doppelgangers, he would also be hit. But no one saw any blood on Night Sorrow's body. In other words, when Xiao Zimo's doppelgangers attacked Night Sorrow's body, they didn't break through Night Sorrow's body. No one knew that Night Sorrow's body had been strengthened by the power of desolates and now had the laws of time. When he was attacked, Night Sorrow's body's laws of time would offset a portion of the attack's energy. Xiao Zimo's doppelgangers didn't have enough energy, so they were offset by Night Sorrow's laws of time. Naturally, they couldn't break through Night Sorrow's body's defenses. The hand-to-hand combat continued. Xiao Zimo's doppelgangers were constantly being destroyed by Night Sorrow. She was constantly creating doppelgangers to supplement the number of doppelgangers destroyed by Night Sorrow. Are these 2 animals? Slaughter, you don't have a chance in second place. Long Jean said. If Night Sorrow is defeated, he will continue to fight with her in the next round. He definitely won't fight with me, a loser. But if that woman is defeated, she won't be able to defeat Night Sorrow, so she will bully me. Saint King Slaughter said. What you say makes sense. But will Night Sorrow be defeated? Obviously not. That woman is very abnormal, but Night Sorrow is even more of an animal. Her doppelgangers can't break through his defenses, so you just have to wait for that woman to challenge you. Long Jean analyzed and said. Currently, the 2 of them are fighting a battle of attrition. Night Sorrow is enduring the attacks, so he won't have any energy consumption. But that woman's doppelgangers have already been destroyed, so she'll definitely have energy consumption. Let's see who is more ruthless and who can last until the end. Saint King Slaughter said his own opinion. At this time, the battle on the stage was tumbling. A figure was flying around the stage. There were almost all the books that one wanted to read. It was much more stable than the average website. The updates were faster, and there were no advertisements. Don't worry, Dual Extreme's Holy King's energy consumption is much greater than Night Sorrow's. Night Sorrow destroyed her phantom energy avatar quickly, but the energy consumption of her phantom energy avatar is much greater. If the battle continues like this, she will lose. Besides, there is a 1-hour time limit. Qian Zhenyu comforted the people behind him who were concerned about Night Sorrow. But in fact, it was different from Qian Zhenyu's estimation. Night Sorrow suddenly used the space crack to block the joint attack of Xiao Zimo and the 6 phantoms, and then accelerated the speed of killing the phantoms. As soon as Night Sorrow's killing speed increased, Xiao Zimo couldn't hold on any longer. She needs her own energy to create an energy clone. After using the space crack 3 times in a row, Night Sorrow killed over 20 phantoms. Xiao Zimo couldn't keep up with the speed and number of phantoms she created. She could only maintain 3. Let's see how long you can last. Kill. Night Sorrow's robes were torn to shreds, but his fighting spirit was high. There were only 3 phantom energy avatars, so the threat wasn't big. Night Sorrow changed his target and directly attacked Xiao Zimo's true body. He used the will of space and the space laws to support his body. He also used the soul extinguishing slash. Xiao Zimo only had 40% of her energy left. She couldn't create more phantoms. She needed her true body to maintain at least 40% of her energy to create more phantom energy avatars. When her true body was once again killed, and her true body moved to the last phantom energy avatar, Xiao Zimo admitted defeat. Xiao Zimo also didn't want to admit defeat. But she had no choice because when she was killed again, it wouldn't be a phantom energy avatar, but her true body. Night Sorrow used the soul extinguishing slash to kill her. She didn't even have the chance to admit defeat after being hit by the soul extinguishing slash. Look at chapter number 1 of the original edition. The battle was over. Sovereign Zi Xiao stood up and clapped his hands. Half of the sovereigns also stood up and clapped. You two are really good. Both of you have the qualifications to sit at the top of the first sacred ceremony of the 100 Worlds. Xiao Zimo, I can only say that your luck is a bit bad. You were born in the same era as your opponent. Sovereign Zi Xiao said. He had lived for many years, but he had rarely seen cultivators below the king realm. That was why he was very appreciative of them. Many thanks for your praise, Sovereign Zi Xiao. A loss is a loss. I just lost 10 years of cultivation time in the will of heaven and earth. 100 years or 90 years doesn't make any difference to me. It's enough. Night Sorrow, wait until you enter the king realm. Xiao Zimo looked at Night Sorrow and said. Okay. I'll wait for you anytime. I'm sorry this time. Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards Xiao Zimo. He knew that Xiao Zimo was really strong. If he didn't cultivate the 10,000 Dao Tong, it would be very difficult for him to win. Then, King Yuqiong announced the result of the battle. Night Sorrow wore a tattered robe and returned to the first seat. Then, he changed into a new robe. Fortunately, his pants weren't damaged. Otherwise, he would have lost a lot of face. There were too many people watching. You're really ruthless. Long Jean gave Night Sorrow a thumbs up. That's the real ruthless person. Night Sorrow said to Xiao Zimo, who was sitting down. I came here for the first place. In the end, you guys have to make way for me. Xiao Zimo looked at Long Jean and Saint King of Slaughter and said. Saint King of Slaughter laughed. I really didn't expect that after cultivating for 3,000 years and then participating in the first sacred ceremony of the 100 Worlds, you would fall by 1 rank. You won't. Dual Saint King, can you sit with me? Long Jean looked at Saint King of Slaughter and turned his head to look at Xiao Zimo beside him. I didn't expect that you would be so generous. Then, I don't care about 1 rank. Xiao Zimo said. She understood that Long Jean wanted to protect Saint King of Slaughter's reputation. After all, he had cultivated for 3,000 years and still fell by 1 rank. This would make Saint King of Slaughter a laughingstock. You guys are thinking too much. If you're alive, you can disrespect others, but you must respect yourself. If you're not as good as others, then you're not as good as others. If you give way, then you're looking down on me. If I accept, then that's a disgrace. Besides, the 4th place has 70 years of cultivation. That's enough. If I can break through, then I'll break through. If I can't, then it's fate. If I can't break through, then I'll break through. Okay, then it's settled. We'll respect you and respect ourselves. Xiao Zmo said. That's good. Let me rest for the next round. After the ceremony, I'll treat you guys to a drink. However, if someone challenges me, then you guys won't have the chance to fight me. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Okay, you have to treat me to a drink. Long Jean said with a smile. He naturally knew that Night Sorrow was joking. After all, Night Sorrow wasn't afraid of any challenge. Night Sorrow, since you're treating us to a drink, you have to bring me along. Qing Yin laughed. It seems that Saint King Qing Yin wants to let me off. This drink is on me. Night Sorrow said. Not bad. This group of youngsters is different from the previous batch. They all have spirit and breadth of mind. Purple Cloud Sovereign looked at the row of contestants and nodded with satisfaction. At this time, the 10th round had already begun. Night Sorrow knew that the battles wouldn't be intense. The rankings had basically been set. Everyone's strength was more or less on display. Most likely, there would be some battles, but some hadn't. Sikong Chuyu, Yang Lei, and Qing Ji were all very happy. Wu Lingfei, who had a very calm expression, also had a smile on her face. You guys can rest assured. Other than the Phantom Race's dual Saint King, no one else can threaten Night Sorrow. Qian Zhenyu said. The 7 Rain Sovereign took a sip of tea. That's basically it. I'm very curious about his title. I'll ask him later. Chapter 1030. Genius 1 Second. Remember to love novels, providing you with exciting novels to read. Please go to read. Then he has to be willing to tell you. Don't force him. There's no need for that, said No Beginning Sovereign. Brother No Beginning may be right, but it's uncomfortable to want to know but not know, said the 7 Rain Sovereign. She still wanted to find a chance to ask. The challenges continued, but there were no fatalities. If there was no hope of entering the top 10, it was not worth risking their lives. At the 14th place, Yu Wenhan challenged. He directly chose the 5th place, Qing Yin, because that was the highest he could reach. Get up. Although you're a woman, I don't have the habit of giving in to women. You need strength to sit there. Yu Wenhan pointed at Qing Yin. No Beginning Sovereign, he's challenging your disciple, right? Asked the Yuanling Realm Lord. My 3rd disciple doesn't like to fight, but who thinks she's easy to bully and wants to steal her things? Well, the result is not good. He's asking for trouble. No Beginning Sovereign sipped his tea as he spoke. Qing Yin went up on stage. Is my seat good? The first 2 challengers were closer to me. They're more reliable. Who do you think you are? After speaking, Qing Yin's sword appeared. Then, with a swipe of her left hand, a layer of metal on the sword was removed, and a new sword appeared. It was a green sword full of holes. Following that, the 2 of them started fighting. Only now did everyone realize how powerful Qing Yin was. Aside from the will of wind and thunder that she had displayed in her previous battles, she also controlled the will of sound. He waved his sword, and circles of light flew towards Yu Wenhan. Yi Shan knew that it was a sound wave attack. It can affect the soul. How domineering. Long Jean narrowed his eyes. A moment later, Yu Wenhan's right arm was chopped off. When Qing Yin's sword was about to reach his neck, he shouted that he admitted defeat. You admit defeat quickly. Qing Yin's sword was at Yuan Han's neck. I've already admitted defeat. You can't kill me. Take back your sword. Yuan Han reached out to push Qing Yin's sword away. After you admit defeat, I won't be able to kill you. If I can't kill you, I won't be able to hit you. Qing Yin's arm trembled and her sword's blade struck Yuan Han's face. She then kicked Yuan Han's chin. After kicking Yuan Han over, Qing Yin went up and kicked him. By the time Yu Qiong stopped her, Qing Yin had already kicked a dozen times. Who knew how many of Yuan Han's bones had been broken? That was a good fight. Xiao Zmo said. He's too violent, but I admire his temper. Sluts have to be beaten, and he wants to get to 5th place. His head must be wet, said Long Jin. No one liked people who aimed too high. Yuan Han's mouth was also slutty and annoying. Sage King Qing Yin, beautiful. Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards Qing Yin. Night Sorrow, you're friends with my 2 junior brothers. You can call me Sister Qing Yin. Qing Yin smiled and nodded towards Night Sorrow. Following that, the top 10 didn't move, because it was already set in stone. After 9 rounds, those who could fight had already fought, and those who couldn't fight anymore. Fighting head-on was just asking for trouble. Cultivators all had their own personalities. If their strength was about the same, then there was no problem. If they knew they couldn't fight, then they would be shameless and ruthless. Yu Qiong asked one by one until he asked Xiao Zmo. Xiao Zmo stood up. After Slaughter Sage King stood up, the 2 of them swapped places. Then Yu Qiong asked again. After asking all of them, he nodded towards Night Sorrow. There was no need to ask Night Sorrow anymore. Night Sorrow wanted to fight, but he couldn't. He couldn't just go back and fight. After confirming that there were no more challengers, Yu Qiong went to the main seat and reported the results of the battles. Monarch Zi Shao stood up and walked to the arena. You're all very good. The current seats are the rankings of the first holy ceremony of the 100 Worlds. I congratulate you here. Now, I'll announce something. Next, those who are ranked below the 10th place, go to King Yu Qiong to receive different rewards. After that, Monarch Zi Shao looked at the top 10 cultivators and said, congratulations. Tomorrow, you'll meet here again. We'll give you your rewards, and we'll open the cave. In addition, for the next 3 years, no one is allowed to fight in 9 Cloud City. Anyone who violates this rule will be killed, no matter who they are, no matter where they come from, even if they're monarch-level cultivators. The other monarchs also stood up and nodded. This was the rule of the past, no one could violate it. Whoever violated it and attacked the participants of the first holy ceremony of the 100 Worlds would become everyone's enemy. Killing the future elites of the 9 Heavens world would harm the interests of most people. It would weaken the future strength of the 9 Heavens world. No monarch could tolerate it. Then, Monarch Zi Shao announced the end of the first holy ceremony of the 100 Worlds. Let's go. Night Sorrow, treat us to a drink. We also want to congratulate you, said Long Jin. Can I say hello to my family? Night Sorrow smiled and nodded. He was very happy to have taken first place this time. After arriving at the Profound Heaven Worlds area, Yishang greeted Qian Zhenyu and his wife. After greeting his parents and wife, he went to the place where Saint King Slaughter, Long Jin, Xiao Zmo, and Qing Yin were waiting. Then, the 5 of them went to 9 Heavens City and found a restaurant. They asked for a private room. Xiao Zmo, you can drink with a veil, said Long Jin. Then I'll take it off and drink. I wear a veil because I don't want others to feel uncomfortable. Xiao Zmo took off her veil. Night Sorrow and the others also knew why Xiao Zmo wore a veil. It was because there was a mark on her cheek. It was called a mark, but it was more like a tattoo. It was a flower butterfly. The flower butterfly was not ugly, but it added a bit of a flirtatious aura to Xiao Zmo. However, it was not suitable to expose it in front of others. It would attract attention. As they drank, everyone introduced themselves. First, Night Sorrow introduced his sect. Then, Xiao Zmo introduced herself. Xiao Zmo was from the Phantom Realm. She was from the Phantom Imperial family. They could find her in the Phantom Imperial Palace. Long Jean was from the Sea Wave Realm's Imperial family. Saint King Slaughter was a rogue cultivator from the Profound Celestial Realm. He was from the same region as Night Sorrow. Qing Yin was from the Sky Dome Realm. She was the third disciple of Boundless Mountain. In 100 years, let's meet here and drink again. How about it, said Long Jean. Everyone agreed with Long Jin's suggestion. After all, they were familiar with each other. Then, they separated and returned to their own guest houses. At this time, the guest house of the Profound Heaven World was celebrating. Night Sorrow had taken first place in the 100 Realms' first sacred ceremony. Top 44 Night Sorrow left the restaurant and rushed towards the guest house. He wanted to meet up with everyone. He knew that everyone should be very happy. Not far from the restaurant, Night Sorrow's path was blocked. It was a woman wearing a light purple dress. It was none other than the Seven Rain Sovereign. Night Sorrow greets Lord Sovereign. Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards the Seven Rain Sovereign. No need to be nervous. I am the Seven Rain Sovereign. I have no ill intentions. The Seven Rain Sovereign smiled. Chapter 1031. Aunt Fei, you're here. Have a seat. Night Sorrow pulled out a chair for Wu Lingfei. Wu Lingfei sat down. Night Sorrow, you've gained a lot this time, but you're also in a lot of trouble. Yes, it's very serious. Night Sorrow nodded and told Wu Lingfei his worries. That's right. Those are two sovereigns. They have their own forces. If their subordinate king attacks, we won't be able to stop them. The Tianding Gate won't be able to stop them either, said Wu Lingfei. She had come to find Yi Shang because she was worried about the situation. After tomorrow, she would have to face some things. Today, the Seven Rain Sovereigns came to me and invited me to join them. I didn't reject them directly. If the situation is bad, I can think of a way out. Nine Heaven City can't fight for 3 years, so we can only hide for 3 years, said Night Sorrow. That's a good thing. Without the sovereigns, we can't stop them from taking revenge. Hiding isn't a solution either. After all, we have to consider whether or not the Tianding Gate will be attacked, said Wu Lingfei. Sigh, I felt good killing them, but I had to pay a heavy price for that, said Night Sorrow, rubbing his head. Let's think about it. If it doesn't work, we can go back and talk to Mr. Xiang. Should we move or hide, said Wu Lingfei. No need, we don't have to do that. At that moment, Night Sorrow's door opened. Qian Jinyu opened the door and stood to the side. An old man came in. Night Sorrow greets Mr. Monarch. Wu Lingfei greets Mr. Monarch. Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei stood up and bowed to the old man. It was Xian Tian Monarch. No need to be so polite. Night Sorrow, you did well this time. Although you're not from Tian Xian World, you're still from Tian Xian World. If I can't protect Tian Xian World and let the other sovereigns do whatever they want, then there's no need for me to be a sovereign, said the old man, who was Xian Tian Monarch. But this is a big mess. I beg Lord Monarch to protect the Tianding Gate. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Lord Xian Tian. I can do that. Don't worry. If they want to make a move, then let them try. Lord Xian Tian's attitude was very strong. Thank you, Lord Monarch. Night Sorrow felt relieved. However, I have to remind you of something. I can control them to fight on a large scale, but some small problems cannot be avoided. That is the rule, Lord Xian Tian said. What rules? Night Sorrow asked. Now, he felt at ease. As long as Lord Xian Tian could protect the Tianding Gate, Night Sorrow had nothing to worry about. At worst, he could just send the people around him back to the 9-domain world. Within the 9 regions world, only Saint Kings could enter, and anyone below the Saint King level would be courting death. How many Saint Kings were there in the 9 regions world? Then, Lord Xian Tian explained the rules of the 9 firmament world group. In a battle between 2 powers, if the monarch didn't make a move, the other monarchs couldn't interfere. Battles between forces were common, but it was usually a battle between forces within a world. If one force wanted to cross worlds to fight, it would trigger a group attack from the other world's forces. This wasn't something that an ordinary force could withstand. Monarch powers couldn't withstand it either. If the monarch didn't make a move, the king of one power couldn't withstand the attack of the king of the other world. The monarch's existence was a deterrent and wouldn't make a move easily. In addition, battles between realms wouldn't happen easily. If there was hatred that couldn't be tolerated, it would be a one-on-one battle. In a one-on-one battle, the person attacking wouldn't be more than 3 levels higher than the opponent. Exceeding 3 levels was a violation of the rules. Breaking the rules was a big matter. No one wanted to become the target of public criticism. Fortunately, this isn't a big problem. Knight Sorrow's heart calmed down. So you don't need to worry too much. Our Black Celestial Realm's Black Scale Army exists to fight realms. Moon Monarch and Grey Cloud Monarch won't mess around. Lord Xian Tian smiled. After telling Knight Sorrow a few things, Lord Xian Tian left. He had come to make Knight Sorrow feel at ease. Knight Sorrow and Wu Lingfei looked at each other and smiled. This kind of situation wasn't a big problem. Knight Sorrow, what do you plan to do next? Wu Lingfei asked. My original body will go cultivate in the will of heaven and earth's cave. My clone will go back with everyone. Since they can't pose a threat to the Tianding Gate, the problem isn't serious. Knight Sorrow thought about it and said. Wu Lingfei nodded. The danger wasn't big, so she wasn't worried. After resting for a night, Knight Sorrow's original body and clone separated. Knight Sorrow's original body only brought the reincarnation spear and a simple storage ring. The resources, space-time pagoda, 9 regions origin bead and dragon cauldron were all given to his clone. When they reached the 9 heavens tower, Knight Sorrow saw that the top 10 people were all there. Even Lord Purple Firmament and King Yu Qiong were there. Since you're all here, let's enter the will of heaven and earth's cave to cultivate. Lord Purple Firmament said. Next, King Yu Qiong, who was standing beside Lord Purple Firmament, stepped forward and explained the situation. The will of heaven and earth's cave was inside the 9 heavens tower. As for everyone's situation, the 9 heavens tower could tell. When the time came, the 9 heavens tower would expel them. After you enter, state your requirements and the will you want to comprehend. The 9 heavens tower will naturally arrange it. The rest is up to you. The opportunity is in your hands. Whether you can seize it or not is up to you. Lord Purple Firmament King's body flashed and he disappeared in front of everyone. Okay, you can enter. I congratulate you first. Lord Purple Firmament nodded to Knight Sorrow and the other 10 people. Then, Xiao Zimo and the others walked towards the 9 heavens tower. Knight Sorrow followed behind them. As they approached, the 9 heavens tower's door opened. Everyone entered the 9 heavens tower. After Knight Sorrow entered, he found that there was no one beside him. He was the only one standing there. He understood that they were separated by the 9 heavens tower. Young man, you're here. You're the champion of the 100 Worlds' first sage ceremony. So, for the next 100 years, you can cultivate in the will of heaven and earth's cave that I separated. What attribute do you want to cultivate? A voice sounded in Knight Sorrow's ear. Back-to-back Knight Sorrow knew that this was the voice of the 9 heavens tower. It should be the voice of the 9 heavens realm's origin. Actually, I want to comprehend the will of heaven and earth the most. If it's not here, then I can only ask for the next best thing. I want to comprehend the will of time. Knight Sorrow said. The will of nothingness can only be found in the supreme worlds. The 9 heavens realm does not have it. If you want to comprehend the will of time, I can help you. As for whether you can comprehend it or not, that's your problem. Night Sorrow will work hard. Then, I'll have to trouble you. Night Sorrow said and bowed. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, the space changed and stabilized. The Will of Time Cave. Night Sorrow was in the Will of Time Cave. Speak. Chapter 1032. C_T, Genius 1 second. Remember love/go/little? I'll provide you with interesting novels to read. Read the full article. Night Sorrow then sat down at the place where the will to accelerate time emanated. The power of desolates he had mastered was to accelerate time. Naturally, he had to start with the will to accelerate time. His main body entered a meditative state and started cultivating. Night Sorrow's clone followed Xian Zhenyu to bring his family and people to 9 Heaven City's teleportation array. Then, they teleported to Xiantian Heaven City. Xiantian Celestial Realm's interrealm teleportation array was at Xiantian Imperial City. Little brother Night Sorrow, you and your family can stay in Xiantian Heaven City for a while. There's nothing to do anyway, Qian Xiangwei said with a smile. Then I'll have to trouble you to take care of me, second sister, Night Sorrow said with a smile. He couldn't refuse. Xian Zhenyu and his wife bid farewell to Night Sorrow and left. They knew that it would be inconvenient for the younger generation to talk and interact with them. Qian Xiangwei brought Night Sorrow and the others to her residence. Qian Yu followed as well. After the servants served tea, Qian Xiangwei looked at Night Sorrow and thought for a moment. Little brother Night Sorrow, you're now at the center of the storm. Why don't you stay in Xiantian Heaven City? Night Sorrow looked at Qian Xiangwei. He knew that she was protecting him. However, he shook his head. There were rules. Monarch forces couldn't act recklessly. As for fighting Night Sorrow alone, Night Sorrow wasn't afraid. Brother, don't be stubborn. You're still young. There's no shame in avoiding the opponent's edge, Qian Yu said. Thank you. It's fine. The website's pages are clean and there are few advertisements. I love this kind of website. You must leave a good review. Night Sorrow shook his head. He didn't want to owe anyone. That would be uncomfortable. Seeing Night Sorrow shake his head, Qian Xiangwei and Qian Yu were helpless. This was Night Sorrow's insistence. They couldn't say anything else. How are you going to deal with the grudge with the Tiannan dynasty? Qian Yu asked. I don't have the ability to challenge them for now, so I'll just focus on my cultivation first. We'll talk about it when I'm strong enough. I can't let go of this grudge, so don't talk about the big picture, Night Sorrow said to Qian Xiangwei and Qian Yu. Who told you to put it down? It means that whenever you want to fight, give me a shout. I'll go play too, Qian Yu said with a smile. It's still early. They have several kings, and I don't have the strength to talk about settling grudges. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Thousand Rose hosted a banquet to entertain Night Sorrow and the others. She also arranged for Night Sorrow and the others to stay. Before resting that night, Night Sorrow told his family about his idea. He wanted his parents and 3 wives to return to the 9 Domains world. They didn't have any status in the Tianding Gate, so it didn't matter where they cultivated. This arrangement is more appropriate, Xueshi said. Night Sorrow looked at Xueshi. Don't even think about asking me to go back. I'm now an elder of the Tianding Gate's Danding Peak. I can't just leave, Xueshi said. Night Sorrow smiled and didn't say anything. At the same time, he felt warmth in his heart. He had originally planned to ask Xueshi and Wu Lingfei to go back, but now he couldn't continue. Xueshi was definitely not staying because she was an elder of the Danding Peak. Being an elder of the Danding Peak didn't conflict with leaving to cultivate. After staying in the Mystic Sky Imperial City for half a month, Night Sorrow said goodbye to Qian Xiangwei and Qian Yu and led the group back to the Tianding Gate. When they arrived at the bamboo forest hut, before Night Sorrow could make any arrangements, Elder Xiang and Yan Huifeng arrived. Elder Xiang, I'm sorry. I got into trouble again, Knight Sorrow said apologetically. Hee hee. I've already heard about it. Well done. The Mystic Sky Monarch has already made some preparations and sent word. You don't have to worry. It's a great honor to become the first saint of the 100 worlds. It's something worth celebrating, Elder Xiang said with a smile. When Knight Sorrow was a guest at the Mystic Sky Imperial Court, the Tianding Gate received the news. This was extremely exciting news for the Tianding Gate. What did it mean to be the first saint of the 100 worlds? It meant that he was the strongest saint, the strongest person under the king. This was an honor, a great honor. Some people might think that, so what if he was the strongest saint? He was still trash in front of the king, but people would laugh to death if they said this. The strongest saint wasn't as strong as the king, but there was a problem that all cultivators couldn't ignore. The strongest saint was the strongest among the saint kings. He was invincible in the same realm. Once he entered the king realm, he would still be able to dominate the same realm. So Elder Xiang already knows. I've offended a lot of people this time. I still have to take precautions, Knight Sorrow said. You're right. Actually, the only ones who can become your targets are your family members. It's safer to send your family members back to the 9 regions world, Elder Xiang said. Then I'll go make the arrangements. I'll have to trouble Elder Xiang and the sect leader. Knight Sorrow still felt a little apologetic. Don't think too much. It's actually not a big deal. They can't participate in the realm war. As for the one-on-one battles, it doesn't matter. My soul clone is already near the realm teleportation formation in the Mystic Sky Imperial City. We'll know in advance who they send, Elder Xiang said. Seeing that Elder Xiang had made arrangements, Knight Sorrow was relieved. Then, they chatted. Has your original body entered the will of the heavens cave and started cultivating? Elder Xiang asked. Yes, I've already started cultivating. Knight Sorrow nodded. There was nothing to hide. Your comprehension of the will is already not bad. You'll break through if you comprehend a little more, Elder Xiang said. He was looking forward to Knight Sorrow entering the king realm. No, it won't be that fast. I didn't comprehend the will of space. I don't think it's worth it. My original body is only 1 point away from entering the king realm. It's too much of a waste to use this opportunity to exchange for 1 point of will. My original body is comprehending other aspects. In other words, the foundation of will that I comprehended previously can be considered as accumulation. Knight Sorrow said. Master Knight, why are you messing around? Aren't you neglecting the essentials? Elder Xiang didn't say anything, but Yan Huifeng was anxious. Don't be anxious. You don't know Knight Sorrow's situation. He's doing the right thing. This opportunity doesn't come easily. He should cherish it because the will of space can't stop him. There's really no need to waste this opportunity on the will of time. Elder Xiang felt that Knight Sorrow's choice was right. One starter VA 100 years was a lifetime for an ordinary person, but for a sage king, it was just a small part of 10,000 years. Using 100 years to exchange for a big future, everyone knew what to choose. Yan Huifeng was anxious because he didn't understand Knight Sorrow's situation. He felt that Knight Sorrow was stupid to give up on comprehending the high-level will of space to comprehend other wills. After Elder Xiang left, Knight Sorrow and the people around him started to discuss the arrangements. Let's all go back. I'll stay behind to accompany Knight Sorrow. You all need the help of the Spacetime Treasure Pagoda. Don't split into 2 groups. Zhu Jiuyun said. Knight Sorrow nodded. Today is New Year's Eve. Those brothers and sisters who support Myriad Dao Ascension will be rich and happy. Fortune will come to our house. Fuck you, who am I? The Prophecy Emperor, the visit of the Death God, represents a bloody calamity. Cars and whatnot, you know. Chapter 1033. C_T, Genius 1 second remember love /go/little? I'll provide you with interesting novels to read. Please go to read a book. How about this? Auntie Faye's clone will stay with you. My main body will go and cultivate. Wu Lingfei agreed with Zhu Jiuyan's opinion. Then it's settled. I'll bring everyone back in a while. Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. No one objected to Night Sorrow's idea because it was the best and safest way to deal with it. Everyone knew that Night Sorrow valued relationships. Once the people around him were in trouble, he would be in a passive position. Now, no one could help Night Sorrow, but they also couldn't drag him down. In addition, Night Sorrow's main body was safe. The one taking care of things outside was also his clone, so it wasn't a big problem. Night Sorrow made his decision. Wu Lingfei crushed the communication crystal of the God-slaying team's leader, Ho Jian, to inform everyone to return. Night Sorrow thought for a while and felt that the members of the God-slaying team needed some time to return. Thus, he made a trip to Big Dipper City and gave a portion of the Spirit Enlightenment pills he refined to Old Zhang in exchange for peak-grade Spirit Stones. He wanted to prepare more peak-grade Spirit Stones, mainly to maintain the Spacetime Pagoda's speed. Night Sorrow had a lot of Spirit Stones. He had obtained a lot in the Boundless Domain. However, he still wanted to prepare more. He wouldn't use the Saint Spirit Stones in the Spacetime Pagoda. After returning to Danding Peak, Yi Shang waited for a few more days. After waiting for the God-slaying team to return, Yi Shang stored everyone from the 9 regions world, except for Zhu Jiuyan, Wu Lingfei, and Xuexi's soul avatars, into the Spacetime Pagoda. He left the Heavenly Cauldron sect and teleported to Bipolar City to enter the Wuji world. Please go to read a book. Yong 9, Geo number 6 free FB reading, FB novel. After arriving at the Wuji world, Night Sorrow thought for a while before meeting Yen Tianpa and Lin Ruoxu. Yen Tianpa, who was drinking tea with Lin Ruoxu in the small courtyard, was extremely happy when he saw Night Sorrow. Hee, you brat are ruthless enough. The strongest Sage King is indeed powerful. Uncle Yen, don't make fun of me. I've caused some trouble this time, so Uncle Yen, be careful. If they want to attack the 9-domain world, they will definitely target the Wuji world first. Night Sorrow said. I've become the gatekeeper. Don't worry. My soul avatar will immediately set up camp in 2 Polarity City. Whoever comes to the everlasting world, I'll kill them. Yen Tianpa said. Night Sorrow, since you've obtained the opportunity to cultivate in the will of heaven and earth's cave, does that mean you'll have the opportunity to enter the king's realm? Lin Ruoxu asked hopefully. Yes, there's a great chance. Night Sorrow nodded. 100 years. In at most 100 years, my 9 domains world will have a king. Lin Ruoxu was extremely excited because this would create a precedent for the 9 domains world, a precedent for the 9 domains world to have a king's realm cultivator. I just need some time. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that entering the king's realm wasn't his business, but the 9 domains worlds. After conversing with Yen Tianpa and Lin Ruoxu for a while and drinking a cup of tea, Night Sorrow teleported back to the 9 domains world. After returning to the city in the sky, Night Sorrow felt exceptionally comfortable. He placed the time-space treasure pagoda by the side of the lake and transferred a group of people out. Then, he set the boat on the lake and eased the heart mirror. In the 9 domains world, Night Sorrow felt at ease. As long as he was in the 9 domains world, everyone was safe. He was the king of the 9 domains world. He was invincible. He had the ability to protect his family and the 9 domains world. No one disturbed Night Sorrow. They all knew that Night Sorrow was very tired and needed to rest. In the profound sky world, everything was handled by Night Sorrow. Everything was shouldered by Night Sorrow. Not only physically, but also mentally. Night Sorrow stayed in the lake for a day before returning to the mansion. Night Sorrow, rest well. It's safe here. Sikong Chuyu said as she pulled on his arm. Chuyu, we've known each other for more than 100 years. I'm really sorry for making you guys worry. 6th senior sister, 9th senior sister, I'm really sorry. Night Sorrow said with some guilt. Night sorrow, what are you saying? Although there are a lot of things to do, we're living well. We were born in this era. We're a generation that needs to work hard. Sikong Chiyu looked at Night Sorrow with some heartache. She had seen how difficult it was for Night Sorrow to walk step by step. 13, don't say that. We're living a wonderful life. In the past, there were only a few saints in the 9 domains world. Now, we're also saints. This is something to be proud of. Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and said, don't feel pressured. Relax and cultivate. I'll take care of things. Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow felt guilty for not giving his family a stable life. Night Sorrow, when your main body comes out of seclusion, rest well. Our family needs children too. Aoi looked at Night Sorrow and said. She wanted to do something for Night Sorrow. She also knew that Night Sorrow loved children. It could be seen from how Night Sorrow treated the children in the Saint Hall. Yeah. I also want to have children. Yang Lei's eyes were sparkling. What Qing Ji was thinking was also what she was thinking. Okay, I know. Night Sorrow nodded. After resting for a night, Night Sorrow left the city in the sky. He planned to walk around. First, Yi Shang went to the Profound Mysteries realm and the Nether realm to take a look. After taking a look, Yi Shang was very happy because the 2 worlds were very peaceful, and the level of cultivators had increased by quite a bit. After returning from the Nether realm, Night Sorrow went to the Saint Hall. Although he did not manage the Saint Hall, Night Sorrow cared about the development of the Saint Hall. When Night Sorrow arrived at the Saint Hall, he saw many familiar faces. Long Xiansheng, Xian Wenxiu, Shang Luo, and Heavenly Underworld Saint were all there. Jun Xuanji, Tai Shu Yan, and Lu Qin were also there. In addition, the first batch of Saint Hall's students were also there. A few days ago, the Saint Hall had accepted a new batch of students. Today, they were holding a mobilization meeting. Seeing Night Sorrow appear, everyone was very surprised. They had not seen him for a long time, nor had they received any news of his return. Long Xiansheng and the others cupped their hands towards Night Sorrow. Jun Xuanji, Tai Shu Yan, and Lu Qin also bowed towards Night Sorrow. Uncle. Ning Yun and July both called out. July's eyes were filled with tears. Brother. Yi Nian smiled with joy. Is everyone okay? Night Sorrow smiled and nodded. He was very happy to see this group of people. Everyone is fine. It's just that everyone misses Big Brother. Yi Nian smiled as she walked over to Yi Shang's side and pulled on his arm. Uncle, Chiyue misses you. Chiyue couldn't control her tears, and they started to fall. Don't cry. You are all sovereigns, experts. You can't be like this. Night Sorrow stepped forward and hugged July, patting her back and said. Uncle said that you are July's relative. It's not shameful for July to cry in front of Uncle. July shook her head and said. Chapter 1034. C_T, Genius 1 second Remember Love Go/Small? Show.net provides you with wonderful novels to read. Quick update, the website is refreshing and has few advertisements. I like this kind of website the most. You must give it a good review. What are you all standing there for? Quickly greet the hall master. Ning Yun shouted at the new students. At this time, Ning Yun was already a mid-level venerable, and he looked very handsome. Greetings, Hall Master. All the students of the Holy Hall, former students and current students, bowed to Night Sorrow. Ning Yun, don't scare the children. Night Sorrow nodded to Ning Yun. Uncle, you still haven't accepted a disciple? Ning Yun asked in a low voice. Not yet. You and July will follow me to cultivate. Night Sorrow said after thinking for a moment. Thank you, Uncle. Ning Yun nodded happily, and so did July. Ning Yun, are you stupid? Tai Shiyan glared at Ning Yun. Ah. Disciple greets master. Ningyun reacted after hearing Taishuyan's shout and knelt down to greet him. Get up. Night Sorrow raised his arm and helped Ningyun up. July, what about you? Hurry up. Jun Xuanji shouted at the hesitant July. Uncle, you have always been the person July respected the most in her heart, and you are also her family. Will this change after you become my disciple? July looked at Night Sorrow. It won't change. It will never change. No matter what, I will always be your family. Night Sorrow nodded. He was also touched because July had always valued this feeling in her heart, and he had neglected it. Mianhuating. CC updates quickly, the website is refreshing and has few advertisements. I like this kind of website the most. You must give it a good review. Disciple July greets master. July also knelt down to greet him. I have been busy all these years, so I have not been able to take good care of all of you, Night Sorrow said as he helped July up. This is really a happy occasion. The day after tomorrow is an auspicious day, Long Xianxing said after calculating for a moment. Then let's hold the ceremony the day after tomorrow, Xian Wenxiu suggested. Alright, when the time comes, everyone will go to the city in the sky. Night Sorrow nodded. He didn't like these etiquettes, but some etiquettes were unavoidable. After that, Night Sorrow chatted with Long Xianxing and the others for a while and told them about his situation in the heaven-profound world. The world outside is too complicated. You have to be careful. It's really a case of people eating each other. Long Xianxing lamented. Seniors, martial uncles, City Lord Lu, if you want to cultivate, you can go to the Spacetime Pagoda. I have already placed it beside the lake in Sky City, Night Sorrow said to them. Taishuyan and the others nodded. Night Sorrow then asked Taishuyan in bewilderment why he didn't see any of his senior brothers. It's like this. Yesterday was the day when the Medicine Valley's apprenticeship ceremony began. They all returned to the Medicine Valley, Taishuyan said. Night Sorrow nodded. Because he was busy, he hadn't asked about the Medicine Valley for a long time. After making an appointment with everyone to meet in the city in the sky the day after tomorrow, Night Sorrow left the Sacred Hall and went to the tea house next to the Sacred Hall. As soon as Night Sorrow arrived at the tea house, Chen Chen appeared with his wife beside him. Brother, sister-in-law. Night Sorrow cupped his hands and greeted them. Come in. Chen Chen happily invited Night Sorrow into the tea house. Then, without making tea, he directly called his wife to find wine. He had waited for many years for Night Sorrow to call him brother. The two of them didn't speak and drank a few bowls of wine each. Has Qianhua come back? Night Sorrow put down the wine bowl and asked. Yes, he comes back to see us once a year. Our second brother and his younger brother were also brought by him to cultivate together. Chen Chen nodded. That's good. You're living more comfortably than me. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Seeing that Chen Chen and his wife were living a stable life, Night Sorrow was also very happy. V forever H forever R Phi caret watch D small plus talk, don't you have children yet? Chen Chen asked. He knew that Night Sorrow had several wives. Not yet, but I plan to accept a disciple the day after tomorrow. Are you going to attend the ceremony? Father Gu is also in the city in the sky, Night Sorrow asked. After listening to Night Sorrow's words, Chen Chen nodded. Night Sorrow recognized him as a brother and Night Sorrow accepted him as a disciple. There was no reason for him not to go. Night Sorrow left after drinking a jar of wine with Chen Chen. Strolling around Dongxian City, Night Sorrow felt a little emotional. Dongxian City had changed too much. It had become much more prosperous, but the people were still so simple. In front of the teleportation array, Night Sorrow looked at the Tianji Tower branch not far away. The scene of the first time he came to Dongxian City still flashed in his mind. After that, Night Sorrow teleported to Danding City. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow did not go to Medicine Valley but teleported to Zhuyuan City. When he arrived at Zhuyuan City, Night Sorrow was stunned because the scale of Zhuyuan City today was comparable to Danding City. Greetings, Commander. The city lord of Zhuyuan City, Zhang Ling, bowed to Night Sorrow. He was originally patrolling, but he only confirmed it after looking at Night Sorrow because it was too rare for Night Sorrow to appear. Zhuyuan City is built so well? This isn't worth it, right? Night Sorrow said. This is the Valley Master's idea. Every year, many cultivators enter the vast wilderness to train, and many people come here because of its reputation. They want to see the commander's old residence, so Zhuyuan City strengthened its construction. Zhang Ling bowed and replied. Night Sorrow could also understand that this was the change. After sending Zhang Ling away, Yi Shang returned to the old bamboo house. He saw Yi Wuqiu in the bamboo house. Uncle, why are you still here? Didn't you go back to Night Moon? Seeing Yi Wuqiu, Night Sorrow was very surprised because he felt that after Yi Qianhua left, Yi Wuqiu and the others should have returned. The family wants me to go back, but I still want to accompany my old brother and look after this courtyard for the young master. Also, I can cultivate in peace, Yi Wuqiu said. Night Sorrow nodded. He understood that Yi Wuqiu was a sentimental person and was unwilling to leave. Night Sorrow took out the dragon spirit pill and a few spatial crystals. Uncle, you can cultivate in peace here. You will achieve something. After Yi Wuqiu took the resources, he bowed to Night Sorrow. He was very grateful. This was equivalent to having the resources to cultivate to the peak of the Venerable Realm. After leaving Zhuyuan City, Night Sorrow went to the Medicine Valley. The Medicine Valley's apprenticeship ceremony was still in progress. There were many young people who wanted to enter the Medicine Valley, and the ceremony could not be completed in 1 or 2 days. Night Sorrow stood in the middle of the audience and saw Gong Xian sitting in the main seat of the Medicine Valley's higher-ups. Night Sorrow nodded. As time passed, everyone's lives had changed. At this moment, Night Sorrow had the ability to return to his original state. He stood there like an ordinary person, and Gong Xian and the others could not discover him. After watching quietly for a while, Night Sorrow walked forward, intending to greet his fellow disciples because today's apprenticeship ceremony was about to end. As soon as Night Sorrow walked forward, some people were unhappy. Young man, can you not block the view? Without cultivation, what's the point of looking? No matter what, you have to have some foundation. Hurry up and go to the back. A big-bellied merchant said. Chapter 1035. C_T, Genius 1 second remember love/go/small? Show.net provides you with wonderful novels to read. Read the full article. It was not Night Sorrow's character to be yelled at. It was also embarrassing. However, there was also a problem if he continued to walk forward. That was, he would be out of tune with the surroundings. Reveal his identity? That would be making a mountain out of a molehill. However, at this moment, someone saw Night Sorrow. It was Elder Su, who was originally guarding Danding Cliff. Get out of my way. Elder Su left his seat and walked towards Night Sorrow. When he arrived in front of Night Sorrow, Elder Su bowed. Greetings, Grand Elder. Elder Su, you don't have to do this. Night Sorrow is a junior. Night Sorrow reached out to help Elder Su up. At this moment, Gong Xian and the others had arrived in front of Night Sorrow. Ha, 13, you're back. Gong Xian and the others were very happy to see Night Sorrow because they hadn't seen each other for a long time. Yes, I'm back. I just wanted to take a look at the front. This made people unhappy and disturbed the continuation of the apprenticeship ceremony, Night Sorrow said embarrassedly. What? Peak Master Tang, continue to host the apprenticeship ceremony. Let's go. Gong Xian pulled Night Sorrow and led the other junior brothers towards Taishan Peak. You're awesome. For many years, no one has spoken to Night Sorrow in Medicine Valley like this and even asked him to go to the back. Other than you, no one else has done this. Tang Qianqian looked at the merchant angrily. Night Sorrow was the sign of Medicine Valley. He was the pride of Medicine Valley and also the glory in the hearts of everyone in Medicine Valley. Everyone was very unhappy that Night Sorrow had been yelled at. You are not allowed to appear near the mountain gate of Medicine Valley in the future. Lin Jingyi pointed at the merchant and gave the order. Lin Jingyi, who had reached the Venerable Realm, was now an elder of the Medicine Valley. Since Lin Jingyi had given the order, the law enforcement disciples of the Medicine Valley naturally expelled the merchant. Night Sorrow didn't mind this kind of thing, but the other people in Medicine Valley minded it very much. In the Medicine Valley, you can say that other people are bad. That's not a problem. But if anyone dares to say that the commander-in-chief is bad, that's not allowed. Tang Qianqian said. Night Sorrow didn't know what happened at the gate of Medicine Valley. When they arrived at Taishan Peak, they chatted and drank together. Gong Xian and the others were very happy to know that Night Sorrow was going to accept a disciple. Tomorrow, our Medicine Valley's apprenticeship ceremony will be over. The day after tomorrow, we'll go to the city in the sky, Hua Nan said. We all have a lot of disciples. You really should accept a disciple. Gong Xian nodded at Night Sorrow. After drinking more than 10 jars of wine with Gong Xian and the others, Night Sorrow, who was a little dizzy, returned to the city in the sky. He's drunk after going out for a while. Who is it? Yang Lei said with some dissatisfaction. She didn't like others to make Night Sorrow drink. It's eldest senior brother and the others. We drank to our heart's content. Night Sorrow took the teapot and poured a cup of tea. That's right. Yang Lei nodded. They were not only Night Sorrow's senior brothers, but also her senior brother and junior brother. Then Night Sorrow told his parents and wife about his decision to accept a disciple. No one objected. Night Sorrow was the lord of the 9 regions. He couldn't not have a successor. While Night Sorrow was chatting with his parents, Night Moon's emperor also came to the city in the sky. Night Sorrow's seniority in Night Moon's dynasty was low, but his status was high. Even the emperor respected Night Sorrow. Yi Tian also came. After Night Sorrow saved him, the two hadn't interacted much. After exchanging some pleasantries, Night Sorrow looked at Yi Xinyue and asked about Yi Qianhua's situation. The old ancestor is cultivating in the family's land. Usually, he won't be seen. He only comes out once a year to see his parents in this life. His younger brother in this life is accompanying him. Yi Xinyue said. Night Sorrow nodded. If Yi Qianhua's life was fine, he would feel at ease. Then, Yi Linghuan also asked about Night Sorrow's situation in the profound sky world. He told Night Sorrow that if he felt that it was time to fight with the Tian-Nan dynasty, the Yi family could go to war. With the 9 regions world being completed, the 9 regions world's origin strengthened the display of laws in the Sea of Night Moon. Now, there were 2 more saints in the Night Moon. Yi Lingxie and Yi Shenxian had already become saints. The other paragons also had a chance to enter. This situation made Night Sorrow very happy because this was his family. Of course, in the battle with the Tian-Nan dynasty, saints were useless. After Night Moon's people left, Night Sorrow went to the lake and drank a jar of wine with Tianyu and Yi Mei. 13th brother, I'm sorry. I still can't keep up with your pace. Tianyu said apologetically. Tianyu, what are you talking about? It's not good to be like this. Let's not talk about other things. Let's drink. Night Sorrow said. When they knew that Night Sorrow was going to take in a disciple, they were very happy. 13th brother, we call you 13th brother. Then when you take in a disciple, we have to call you Martial Uncle. Yi Mei said with a smile. As she grew up, Yi Mei was now an adult woman. Her every frown and smile was full of charm. Moreover, she was already a mid-level saint. Yes, when I don't have time, you two have to guide them well. Night Sorrow smiled at Yi Mei. Ning Yun and Qiue are good children. 13th brother, I still remember when we lived in Qingxin courtyard. The simple Ning Yun brought us a lot of happiness. Tianyu said. Night Sorrow nodded. He had always liked Ning Yun. He also liked Qiue's simplicity. The other two's talents were also relatively high. After resting for a night, Yishang went back to the lake on the second day. When he came back at night, Yishang was stunned because the city in the sky was full of people. Everyone he knew and had interacted with before was here. The apprenticeship ceremony was held in the god-slaying team's martial arts field. Knight Soro's mansion couldn't accommodate so many people. Yishang's gift to Ningyun and Chiyue was a sacred-level weapon and a defensive armor for each of them. After the apprenticeship ceremony, it was time for everyone to drink and chat. Knight Soro also talked to Ningyun and Chiyue. He asked if the two of them were going to the mysterious heaven world. If they were going, he could guide them in their cultivation. Hearing Knight Soro's words, Ningyun and Chiyue were very happy. Originally, they wanted to go to the mysterious heaven world to take a look. However, they didn't dare to ask. Now that Knight Soro asked, they were naturally willing to follow. Following that, Knight Soro told everyone that he was going to return to the mysterious heaven world. He couldn't stay in the 9-domain world for too long. Knight Soro had offended the Tsangyin monarch and the Demon Moon monarch. Naturally, he couldn't disappear at this time. That would be the same as running away. Why? Hair. When Knight Soro left, Sikong Chuyu and the other girls were very reluctant. However, they knew that Knight Soro had important things to do. He couldn't stay in the 9-domain world for too long. Sitting in the teleportation array, Knight Soro brought Ningyun and Chiyue to the Tianding Gate. In the small building in the bamboo forest, Knight Soro saw Elder Xiang talking to Zhu Jiuyun and Wu Lingfei's clones. "You're back. These two young people aren't bad," Elder Xiang greeted. "Elder Xiang, they are the disciples I just accepted today," Knight Soro said. Chapter 1036. Not bad, two good seedlings. Old Xiang nodded. "I've known the two of them for many years. I accepted them as disciples mainly because of their resolute and honest nature," Knight Soro said. Yishang said. In fact, Yishang had accepted Ningyun and Chiyue as his disciples not because of their talent, but because he wanted them to live a good life. "By the way, I've already told Elder Zhu about Danding Peak's disciple recruitment. In addition, Danding Peak can have priority in selecting a batch of people during the annual disciple recruitment ceremony," Old Xiang said. "Is that appropriate? Don't let the other peaks be dissatisfied," Knight Soro said. "No, Danding Peak is newly established. The sect must support it. Everyone understands this." Old Xiang shook his head. After a while, Old Xiang left. "Ningyun, Chiyue, Master's place is a little more difficult because Danding Peak is newly established. You two should find a place to live," Knight Soro said to Ningyun and Chiyue. "Master, don't worry. We're not children," Ningyun said with a smile. Yishang nodded. He knew that Ningyun and Chiyue's experience wasn't low. They had been training frequently these past few years. In the following days, Knight Soro refined pills and weapons every day while guiding Ningyun and Chiyue in their cultivation. Even when Knight Soro was busy, Zhu Jiuyun, Wu Lingfei and Xueshi would guide Ningyun and Chiyue in their cultivation. "Knight Soro, you're a Saint King grade weapon refiner. Why don't you refine Saint King grade weapons for them? Saint artifacts are the ones that should be given as a disciple." Xueshi looked at Knight Soro and said. "Treasures arouse the envy of others. With their current cultivation, they can't go out with Saint King grade weapons." Knight Soro glanced at Xueshi and said. "I didn't think it through." Xueshi understood Knight Soro's meaning. Ningyun and Chiyue were shocked because the highest grade weapons they had come into contact with were saint artifacts. In the 9 regions world, they could only forge high-grade spirit artifacts. But their master could forge Saint King grade artifacts now. "Don't be surprised, your honored master is not only a Saint King grade artifact refiner, he's also a Saint King grade alchemist," Zhu Jiuyun said to Ningyun and Chiyue, who were both in a daze. "You too. Why are you telling the children these things?" Yi Shan glared at Zhu Jiuyan. Master, in addition to cultivating true energy and battle skills, can we also cultivate alchemy and artifact forging? Asked Chiyue. That's fine. This is also a way to cultivate your soul power. Tell me what you want to learn after you've thought it through. In addition, guiding you in your cultivation is your master's personal matter. If you want to cultivate alchemy or artifact forging, you must join the Tianding Gate because that is the inheritance of the Tianding Gate, Knight Sorrow said. That's not a problem. Senior brother, what do you plan on cultivating? I'll choose the remaining ones, Chiyue said while looking at Ning Yun. Refining weapons is a rough job. It's not suitable for you. I'll cultivate in refining weapons. Junior sister, you can cultivate in alchemy with master, said Ning Yun. Then, Knight Sorrow brought the two of them to the main hall of Danding Peak. Yu Yang Yu presided over the ceremony for them to join the sect. The two of them also paid their respects to their grandmaster, Yu Yang Yu. With the support of pills, Yu Yang Yu was now working hard to comprehend the laws. Knight Sorrow prepared some saint crystals for the people of Medicine Valley. As for whether they could comprehend it or not, it was up to fate. Then, Knight Sorrow brought Ning Yun and Chiyue back to the bamboo grove. Ning Yun and Chiyue built a bamboo house to live in next to the Tranquil Heart Villa. Knight Sorrow's life was very quiet. His clone couldn't cultivate the basics or comprehend the intent. He could only work on his support skills. The finished products of alchemy and artifact forging were handed over to Elder Zhang in Big Dipper City to manage and earn some profit. Elder Zhang's Heaven Dough shop was very popular now because the pills, weapons, and armors sold were all of the best quality. In addition, after communicating with Knight Sorrow, the Heaven Dough shop also accepted the forging of Saint Monarch weapons and Saint Monarch pills. In other words, cultivators could customize them. Of course, the price of custom-made pills and weapons was higher. Knight Sorrow went to the Heaven Dough shop again. Elder Zhang asked Knight Sorrow to wait because someone wanted to customize a weapon. While Knight Sorrow was drinking tea, Elder Zhang brought a middle-aged man and a woman into the VIP building. The middle-aged man was wearing a long robe with long hair. The most special thing about him was that he was barefoot. The woman had an agile aura. Seeing the two of them, Knight Sorrow stood up because he couldn't see through the man's cultivation. He was obviously king. First saint of 100 worlds, strongest Saint Monarch, Knight Sorrow. The man in the long robe sized up Knight Sorrow and said, "Knight Sorrow greets Sir King." Knight Sorrow cupped his fists to the young man. "There's no need for formalities. I'm Big Dipper, and this is my youngest daughter. She doesn't have a suitable weapon right now, so I want to customize one," Big Dipper said. He was the overlord of Big Dipper City, Big Dipper Sovereign. "Tell me, King. If possible, I won't delay." Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow said, "I have seen the weapons you forge. The quality is not bad, not worse than the weapons made by those old guys, so I don't want to trouble others. Also, my daughter has 3 attributes. A Saint Monarch weapon with 3 attributes is not something ordinary people can forge." 7-Star King explained to Knight Sorrow. After glancing at the woman beside 7-Star King, Knight Sorrow nodded. A wind, water, and fire triple attribute weapon. The difficulty lies in the compatibility of the water and fire attribute spirit arrays. Perhaps I can give it a try, but I have never forged such a weapon before. Fine. If you fail, I won't say anything. I'll pretend that nothing happened. If you succeed, I'll give you a mansion in Big Dipper City. There's also a big shop next to it. It's also yours, Big Dipper Sovereign said. Hashtag 7-Star King, don't worry about trouble, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. Trouble? Huh, you are a smart man. Trouble and benefits are relative. If I can help you solve your problem, I will also leave a Saint Monarch alchemist and artifact refining grandmaster in 7-Star City. 7-Star King laughed after hearing Knight Sorrow's words. After the first sacred ceremony of the 100 Worlds, ordinary people didn't know the details, but 7-Star King knew. As he paid attention, 7-Star King learned about Night Sorrow's situation. At the same time, his daughter just happened to need a weapon, so he had an idea. Many thanks for 7-Star King's appreciation, Night Sorrow said. There are some things I still need to tell you. This king doesn't doubt that you can enter King's realm. Whether it is the Demon Moon realm or the Sky Dome realm, this king will deal with as much trouble as he can. However, if you have a conflict with the South Sky Dynasty, don't live in 7-Star City. This king doesn't like infighting, so he doesn't want to have any conflicts with anyone from the profound heaven world. 7-Star King stated his principles. Night Sorrow nodded. He understood that 7-Star King was a man of principles, but Night Sorrow wasn't someone without principles. He wasn't willing to accept a favor for no reason. Speak. Chapter 1037. I'll accept the forging of this weapon. Just leave behind the requirements and the blueprint. I don't need anything else. I, Night Sorrow, am not a troublemaker, and I don't want to be one. Night Sorrow expressed his attitude. It's good for young people to be persistent. Bei Xing, tell him the requirements. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Big Dipper King was stunned for a moment before nodding to his daughter. The woman, who was brimming with spirit energy and wearing a white female battle suit, handed Yi Chang a blueprint and a storage ring. The style and requirements are on this. The 2 sets of materials are in the storage ring. I only know how to use one set of materials. If it succeeds, then it's a success. If it fails, then it means I'm not capable enough. I'll be back in half a month. Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards Big Dipper King and Bei Xing. Then, he left a jar of good wine for Elder Zhang and left. My lord, this guy is a person with character. He won't easily accept the kindness of others. Elder Zhang said. He's only a little over 100 years old. It would be strange if he didn't have a character. Housekeeper Zhang, continue to pay attention to this matter. After saying this, Big Dipper King left the Heaven Dough shop with his daughter. Then, with a few flashes, they arrived at a picturesque courtyard in Big Dipper City, the Big Dipper Manor. This was his residence. On why, father, he's a problem. Bei Xing said after brewing a pot of tea. It's a problem, but it's not a big problem. First of all, my lord is protecting him. The Tianding King of the Tianding Gate and Yen Tianpo of the Wuji realm are standing by his side. Regardless of whether it's the Moon Demon realm or the Grey Cloud sect, they can't make a move on a large scale. Moreover, he obtained the honor of being the first saint of the 100 realms for the profound sky world. As the king of the profound sky world, I should do something. Big Dipper smiled at his daughter. A half-step king at his age is indeed worthy of attention. The main thing is that he has a bright future. It's just that this guy won't accept this kindness. Bei Xing smiled. It's normal that he won't accept it. How can a courageous and dignified cultivator easily accept the kindness of others? Let's see if he can refine a satisfactory weapon for our family's baby in half a month's time. Big Dipper King said with a smile. No matter which world it was, the monarch was the core. The will of the monarch was respected by all monarchs. The sovereigns wouldn't care about the conflicts in their world, but if there was trouble or danger in their world, whoever turned a blind eye to it would incur the sovereign's disgust. Every sovereign didn't want to be bothered by others. Moreover, every sovereign had the ability to see the big picture. If their world's reputation was lost, then no one would be proud. Of course, there were exceptions. Night Sorrow took the materials and blueprints back to the bamboo grove and began to research. This was not an easy task. If it was easy, Big Dipper King would have arranged for someone to do it a long time ago. If it wasn't for the clone in the heaven sealing Great Hall raising its cultivation to the Saint King level, he wouldn't have dared to take it. Now, he still had some confidence. Night Sorrow first took out his ordinary materials to refine. He wanted to test the compatibility of the spirit array. Night Sorrow designed 3 types of spirit arrays, the Feng Shui compound array, the wind and fire compound array, and the most difficult one, the water and fire dual array. Night Sorrow used 3 days to refine a tri-attribute spirit artifact. The spirit arrays were perfectly integrated. It was just that the materials were low-grade, so the result was a spirit artifact. Night Sorrow knew it was enough. He changed to high-grade materials and refined it according to the method used to refine spirit artifacts. Night Sorrow, the spirit artifact you refined is of little value, Wu Lingfei said as she poured Night Sorrow a cup of tea. Yes, it is of little value to ordinary people, but this is custom-made by King. Night Sorrow smiled and told her about his meeting with Big Dipper King. Rope him in? Wu Lingfei asked the question in her heart. It's possible, but whether it's the Grey Cloud sect or the Demon Moon world, if they touch me, it would be like slapping the Sky Profound World's face. Sky Profound World's king wouldn't be willing. However, I refused. I don't want to owe anyone a favor. I don't want to be burdened with debt. Night Sorrow said. But the idea of a shop is not bad. Even if you don't want his shop, you can set up your own. After all, you are an alchemist and an artifact refiner. You can use this to make a living and earn cultivation resources, Zhu Jiuyun said. Zhu Jiuyun said. All cultivators knew that regardless of whether it was alchemy or equipment forging, the profits they could make were huge. That's a good idea. You can never have too many resources. In any case, we can't cultivate. It's not bad to open an alchemy and artifact refinement shop. Night Sorrow also had this idea. After that, Night Sorrow worked hard. He used 6 days to refine the Saint Ruler artifact that Bei Xing wanted. Bei Xing's father was a king, so he brought high-grade materials. Night Sorrow was able to refine a high-grade Saint Ruler artifact. This was the highest-grade weapon Night Sorrow had ever refined. Holding this shining sword, Night Sorrow was very satisfied. He believed that Bei Xing would also be satisfied. After all, king artifacts were hard to come by. A high-grade Saint Ruler artifact was a top-grade weapon. After resting for a few more days, Yi Shan arrived at the Heaven Do store with the weapons he had refined. At that moment, Old Zhang and Bei Xing were talking in the Heaven Do shop. Old Zhang used to be the housekeeper of Big Dipper King's courtyard. Now, he was helping Big Dipper King with his business and collecting information. When Night Sorrow arrived, Old Zhang and Bei Xing came out of the VIP room. Teacher Night, how is it? Old Zhang asked with a smile. How should I put it? It depends on whether Miss Bei Xing is satisfied or not. Night Sorrow took out the sword he had refined and placed it on the table in front of him. Looking at the shining sword, Bei Xing's eyes lit up. It was exactly the same as the blueprint she had drawn. She held the sword in her hand and waved it a few times. Bei Xing was very happy. Not bad, it's much better than I expected. I thought a low-grade Saint Ruler artifact would be enough. Being able to refine a mid-grade Saint Ruler artifact was already beyond my expectations. I didn't expect Teacher Knight to refine a high-grade Saint Ruler artifact. As long as Miss Bei Xing is satisfied, that's good. Here are the remaining materials. Night Sorrow put the spatial ring Bei Xing had given him on the table. I'm satisfied, very satisfied. The materials are yours. Also, you can take over the shops and mansions my father promised, Bei Xing said as she studied the Saint Ruler artifact in her hand. I can take the shops and mansions, but the remuneration is a bit high. I can take out some Holy Spirit stones to make up for the difference. Big Dipper City was the core city of the Big Dipper Sovereign King's forces. The shops and residences in the city were all very expensive. The value of a single shop was very high. Why doesn't this weapon have a name? Bei Xing asked after looking at the sword. Then what name do you want? I can refine it now. Night Sorrow said. He had made it according to the blueprint, and there were no other requirements. Not every refiner will have their own signature when they make a satisfactory product. This sword doesn't have your name on it, Bei Xing said. Speak. 6th update. Yes, this year will have a perfect ending. Next year, we will conquer the world again. Please give me a red packet for the new year. Chapter 1038. C_T, Genius 1 second remember love/go/small? Show.net provides you with wonderful novels to read. Almost all the books you want to read are here. It's much more stable than the average website and updates faster. There are no advertisements. I believe that you will become a great master in the future. Come, your work must have a name, Bei Xing insisted. Master Knight, this is a tradition. It's also a form of respect for master blacksmiths, the elder nodded. Bei Xing then gave the sword a name, Clear Moon Sword. Knight Sorrow carved the words, Clear Moon Sword, on the sword and carved the word, Shang, on the inside of the handle. Enemy Shang, not bad, Knight Sorrow said after finishing. Thank you, Master Knight. Now come with me to take over the shop, Bei Xing said after putting away the sword. I will buy the shop. Just give me a discount. Old Zhang, after I start the business, I will also provide the resources here. Please don't mind, Knight Sorrow said. Enough for you to buy? Are you not going to give our Big Dipper city some face? A man should be more straightforward. This is not the style of the strongest holy king, Bei Xing glared at Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow thought for a moment and nodded. He could take over the shop. As for the future, he would think about it later. After all, he had helped Bei Xing forge a high-grade holy king weapon. Changing to a small shop was not too much. Knight Sorrow then realized that his idea was a bit ridiculous. The shop that Bei Xing wanted him to take over was not a small shop at all. It was a large shop with 4 floors. The location was also very good. How is it? Are you satisfied? Bei Xing stood in front of the shop called Treasure Hunting Pavilion and asked Knight Sorrow. This is not appropriate, Knight Sorrow shook his head. First. Release why, there is nothing inappropriate about it. Big Dipper City belongs to my family. You helped me forge a holy king weapon and I give you a shop. If you don't accept it, you are looking down on me and Big Dipper City, Bei Xing said to Knight Sorrow. Is this really okay? Knight Sorrow felt a little helpless. This Bei Xing was too domineering. However, this was also normal. Bei Xing had an overlord-class father. Bei Xing was also right. This Big Dipper City belonged to him. Very suitable. This place will be yours from now on. The mansion at the back was originally mine, and now it's yours. As for whether you can manage this shop well, that's your problem. The people here were all recruited by me in the past. North Star brought Knight Sorrow into the treasure hunting pavilion. After entering the treasure hunting pavilion, Knight Sorrow was also absent-minded. This was because the situation was beyond his expectations. How about this? I'll leave all the resources and people to you. I'll look after this place, and I'll take 30% of the profits, North Star said after thinking for a while. Then you can have 40%. Otherwise, I'll turn around and leave, Knight Sorrow said. I really don't know what to do with you. It's decided then. North Star could tell that Knight Sorrow didn't want to take advantage of him. If he insisted, Knight Sorrow would really leave. Then, North Star gathered everyone in the treasure hunting pavilion and announced that the treasure hunting pavilion had a new owner. She also announced that she still had a share of the profits. Then, North Star asked Knight Sorrow to say a few words. Knight Sorrow nodded. I'm an alchemist and also a blacksmith. However, I'm not a businessman. So, this place will be the same as before. The only difference is that this place will sell some Saint King pills and Saint King weapons. Old Sheen, you're a businessman. As for the future arrangements, you can plan it out and then ask Master Knight, North Star said to an old man. After the matter was settled, North Star brought Knight Sorrow to look at the mansion at the back. Because North Star had shares in the treasure hunting pavilion, Knight Sorrow didn't have anything to worry about. He also accepted the mansion. When they came to the shop again, North Star suggested that the treasure hunting pavilion change its name. Night Sorrow didn't care much about this. North Star thought that it should be a new atmosphere for newcomers, so he named it Celestial Master Pavilion. After North Star left, Night Sorrow returned to the Tianding Gate and told Wu Lingfei, Zhu Jiuyun, and the others about the situation. This is not bad. A foundation and resources are always needed. Wu Lingfei was very happy for Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow went to the main peak and didn't see old Xiang. He greeted Yan Huifeng and told him that if there was anything, he could find him at the Celestial Master Pavilion in Big Dipper City. At the same time, he also greeted Yu Yang and the others. Then, he brought his people to Big Dipper City and stayed at the Celestial Master Pavilion. The next day, Night Sorrow found that the name of the shop wasn't very suitable. Because only alchemists and blacksmiths of the king level could be called Celestial Masters. But the name was already called and the signboard was hung, so he couldn't say anything else. Then, Night Sorrow gave some of his high-grade pills to Steward Qin and placed them in the shop. Then, he took some materials from the shop's warehouse and refined some mainstream Saint King weapons. Like this, the shop had a brand. In addition, Night Sorrow also said that he would accept custom-made pills and weapons of the 8th order and below. The profit from accepting custom-made items is quite good. 3 sets of materials for 1 finished product. The profit margin is quite high. Old Qin said excitedly. He didn't expect the new owner to be so amazing. Don't set the price too high for now. When a new shop opens, reputation are very important. The profit can be a bit lower or even no profit. Old Qin, you can arrange it as you see fit. Night Sorrow said. Old Qin happily went to arrange it because this was a big brand. In the profound heaven world, there were some Saint King level alchemists and blacksmiths, but they all had their own specialties. But Night Sorrow was now accepting orders from all sides. It was impossible not to remember his reputation. When Bei Xing came again, he saw that the entrance of the Celestial Master Pavilion was full of people. They were all looking at the signboard and discussing because the price of custom-made weapons and pills of the Celestial Master Pavilion was very low. It was unprecedentedly low. Everyone was studying the materials in their hands. If they had enough, they would consider custom-made pills and weapons of the Celestial Master Pavilion. Passing through the Celestial Master Pavilion, Bei Xing arrived at the mansion where Night Sorrow was resting. At this time, Night Sorrow was refining pills. He was refining the 5-spirit pill. After all, there was a large group of saints entering the Saint King level. The 5-spirit pill required a large amount of space. He nodded to Xuexi, indicating for her to receive the guests. Night Sorrow continued to refine the 5-spirit pill. After he finished refining and washed his face and hands, Night Sorrow returned to the tea table. Bei Xing, this is Jiuyun, Xuexi, and this is my Aunt Fei. Bei Xing is the other boss of the Celestial Master Pavilion. Bei Xing, you've done well. There are a lot of people watching outside. Your reputation has spread. After others try the things you refine, your reputation will also increase. It's impossible for business to not be good. Bei Xing said excitedly. As long as you can do it well. As the boss, you can also sit and wait for spirit stones and resources to come to you. Night Sorrow said. Business here used to be average. Now that you're here, there won't be any problems. Let's go. I'll treat you to a big meal. Bei Xing said. All right. Then we'll go and have a meal with you. But you're a scammer. How can you call the Celestial Master Pavilion so casually? We don't have king-level alchemists and blacksmiths. Night Sorrow glanced at Bei Xing and said. Chapter 1039. Not for now, but you can in the future. Besides, no one will dare to mess with us, so you don't have to worry. Which business doesn't have a big name? It represents hope and longing, North Star said with a smile. Night Sorrow could only smile. Then, they went to the biggest restaurant in Big Dipper City. "Don't worry, this place is also mine," North Star said after entering the restaurant. "Alright, we're not familiar with this place, so you can order." "I don't have any other requests." "Good wine, give me some good wine," Night Sorrow said with a smile. "Alright, these sisters aren't familiar with this place either. I'll take the order." Then, North Star ordered a table full of dishes and 2 types of wine. This was Big Dipper City's #1 restaurant. The wine and dishes were top-notch. Night Sorrow also liked the wine very much. Seeing that Night Sorrow liked the wine here, North Star called the manager over. "This is my friend. Bring some wine over. Since he's here to eat, I'll settle the bill." "Alright, since you're rich, I won't refuse," Night Sorrow said. "You'll definitely be rich in the future," North Star said with a smile. After they finished eating, they left the restaurant. Before they left, the manager handed Yi Shang a storage ring. Naturally, it was filled with good wine. After leaving the restaurant, Night Sorrow returned to his mansion and continued refining pills and tools. Wu Lingfei and Zhu Jiuyan guided Ning Yun and Qi Yue, who had followed him, in their cultivation. After refining more pills, Night Sorrow suddenly smiled. "Why are you so happy?" Xueshi asked. "Look at this for free, my main body has comprehended something. I've already found the way to comprehend the will of time. Next, I'll gain something," Night Sorrow said with a smile. "How long has it been?" "You've already found the way?" Zhu Jiuyan was shocked. "You don't know how many spirit comprehension pills I prepared for my main body." Night Sorrow was in a good mood. "This is related to the spirit comprehension pills. It's mainly because you have the ability. You don't have to worry about anything from now on," Wu Lingfei said with a smile. The comprehension of will was very important. If one couldn't find the entrance to comprehending will, then no matter how hard they worked, they wouldn't gain anything. However, it was different once one had grasped the right path. Once one grasped the right path, their hard work would be rewarded. No matter how fast or slow one comprehended it, as time passed, there would be results. Knowing that his true body had gained something, Night Sorrow continued to refine pills and forge tools. He was also full of energy. The tyrannical power of the time attribute surpassed the will of space. In spacetime, time was ranked before space. While Night Sorrow was busy, some people also made a move. The Tsangyin monarch was infuriated when his direct descendant was killed by Night Sorrow during the grand ceremony of the 100 World's first sage. No matter what kind of power it was, a half-step king was very important. They were considered the backbone of the power, and once they entered the king realm, they would be able to support the rise and fall of the power. Zhang Wushang was the outstanding talent of the Tsangyin sect's new generation. He was the future. However, he was killed by Night Sorrow on the stage. Not only did this destroy a talent of the Tsangyin sect, but it also fiercely slapped the Tsangyin monarch's face. This was something he couldn't tolerate. Because of the rules, the Tsangyin sect couldn't start a war with the profound celestial realm. However, he couldn't tolerate this. He then gathered the upper echelons of the Tsangyin sect. "Monarch, let's declare war and directly kill that Night Sorrow." The current sect master of the Tsangyin sect, Tsang Qingyuan, said. The Tsangyin monarch nodded. "We don't have much of a chance of winning in a large-scale battle. Moreover, it's not suitable to make a big move. Let's carry out a revenge battle within the rules. I don't care how you arrange it. I just want that little bastard's head." Tsang Qingyuan then appointed Tsang Wuzue of the Tsangyin sect to be in charge of this matter. Tsang Wuzue was a 2-star king. Although Tsang Wuzue was a 2-star king, he was very famous in the Tsangyin sect. He had faced a 3-star king without losing. On this day, Night Sorrow was refining pills when Elder Xiang came. "You have to be careful. The other party is making a move," Elder Xiang said. "Which side is it?" Someone was targeting him. Night Sorrow had expected this. However, he wasn't sure if it was someone from the Moon Demon realm or the Tsangyin sect. It's the Tsangyan sect's Wuzue king. He's a 2-star king and controls the will of wind and fire. Elder Xiang said. A 2-star king is not a threat to our Tianding gate. He can't pass through the Wuji realm either. He can't threaten the 9-domain world. Knight Sorrow wasn't worried about a 2-star king. The Tsangyan sect doesn't want to start a war between factions. Their operation this time is only targeting you. Not many people know that you're here. They shouldn't be able to find this place. Therefore, you should be safe. Elder Xiang said. Besides a few people around me and my master, no one else knows that I'm here. Knight Sorrow said. It's not hard for them to find out about the situation at Danding Peak. Since they can't see you, they'll naturally think of Danding Peak as a breakthrough point. Now that my main body is guarding Danding Peak, as long as the people there don't go out, they won't be able to do anything. Since he's messing around in the Tianding gate, I have a reason to kill him. He's not a fool. Elder Xiang said. Then I'm relieved. I'll have to trouble Elder Xiang about Danding Peak. Knight Sorrow said embarrassedly. After all, he was the one who caused this mess. All right. Be careful. I'll go back first. Elder Xiang was here to inform Knight Sorrow to be prepared. After Elder Xiang left, Knight Sorrow thought about it. He felt that there shouldn't be any loopholes. Since he couldn't break into the 9-domain world or Danding Peak, then the only loophole was him and the people around him. From today onwards, don't go out. Safety first. Only a few people know that we're here. As long as we're not discovered, we'll be safe for a while. Knight Sorrow said. Wu Lingfei and the others nodded. They knew that the situation was dire. What's the matter? Why are you so nervous? Bei Xing asked the silent people after arriving at Yi Shang's residence. It's nothing. How do you have time to come here today? Knight Sorrow asked. I'm different from you. Your main body cultivates, while your clone has other pursuits. My main body cultivates, while my clone has nothing to do, so he comes here to take a look. Business is really good. But I don't believe you. Tell me what's going on. Bei Xing looked at Wu Lingfei and the others. All right then. In a moment, you explain the situation to the store. I'll talk to Elder Zhang and try not to reveal my whereabouts. The Grey Cloud sect has already made their move, Yi Shan said after thinking for a moment. You don't have to worry about it. I'll tell the store and Elder Zhang. I'll also ask my senior brother to come to Big Dipper City. This isn't a place where they can mess around. Bei Xing nodded to Knight Sorrow and left Knight Sorrow's residence. Speak. Chapter 1040. She has a bad temper. Knight Sorrow was a little speechless. This had nothing to do with Bei Xing, but Bei Xing was serious. She has a straightforward personality and can be considered a good friend, Xueshi said. Knight Sorrow nodded. He also knew this. Bei Xing didn't have the temperament of some rich people. In this regard, Knight Sorrow was very impressed with the upbringing of the king of the heaven mystic world. Qian Zhenyu and his wife were both kings and had monarchs above them, but their children were not arrogant at all. The same was true for the Big Dipper king, which could be seen from Bei Xing. Of course, some exceptions were inevitable. Shang Jingchen and Shang Jingxian were examples, and so was Tsang Wushang. However, the result was not good. Tsang Wushang was now dead because of his arrogance, and Shang Jingxian was also slapped in the face by Knight Sorrow. Although he knew that the Grey Cloud sect was moving, Knight Sorrow was still the same. He refined pills and weapons every day, and only rested when the goods in the Celestial Master Pavilion were all ready. For now, Knight Sorrow still couldn't fight with the big forces. He wasn't a king, and whether it was the Grey Cloud sect or the Demon Moon realm, they were all monarch-level forces. There were many kings under their command, which could be seen from the strength of the Tian Nan dynasty. There were 3 known kings in the Tian Nan dynasty, Shang Tianfeng, Yuan Qinba, and Gong Yang Lai. Night Sorrow wasn't sure if there were others who hadn't shown up yet. What Yi Shang needed was time. For now, he had to endure and wait for his main body to cultivate. When his main body had comprehended and entered the Sovereign King realm, Yi Shang would not be afraid of opponents who were 3 levels higher than him. Not to mention whether they could fight, it would be impossible for them to kill him. Night Sorrow had his own considerations. When he hadn't comprehended the power of will, Gong Yang Lai couldn't kill him even if he wanted to. With the will of space at 90% will, he was confident that he could fight Gong Yang Lai. Once he entered the king realm with the time attribute, he would have no problem fighting a 2-star king. Time slipped away bit by bit. Night Sorrow's days were still very stable. When there were custom pills and weapons, he would work. The rest of the time, he would rest. Ning Yun and July often went out to gain experience, so no one knew them. As for safety, Night Sorrow had told him to do what he could. Although Night Sorrow missed his wife and parents very much, it was not the right time to move. If he moved, it might cause some trouble and he would not be able to live a stable life anymore. In the blink of an eye, 5 years went by. On this day, he had just finished concocting a furnace of medicinal pills. Night Sorrow's body shuddered and the aura emanating from his body began to change, bringing with it a hazy aura. It was a change in the flow of time. After 5 years of bitter cultivation in the Will of Time cave, Night Sorrow's comprehension of the Will of Time had entered 70%. This was because his main body had woken up from his meditation. Night Sorrow's clone had felt the change and felt it. "What's going on with you?" Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow and asked. "My main body has woken up from his meditation. I have comprehended 70% of the Will of Time. I am now a half-step king," Night Sorrow said. "Then you are now a dual attribute half-step king?" Zhu Jiuyun said with some excitement. "Yes, now I have something to do. Although I can't cultivate the basics, I can cultivate combat skills that combine the time and space attributes." Night Sorrow was indeed very bored now. Besides concocting some medicinal pills and weapons, he had nothing to do. Following this, the women prepared a table of food and wine to celebrate for Yi Shang. This was incredibly rare, and it could be said that Yi Shang had once again opened up a bright path for himself. This time, Night Sorrow drank a little too much. He was happy in his heart. With 2 types of will in his body, he believed that he had the strength to contend with a beginner king. In the following days, besides concocting medicinal pills and refining tools, Night Sorrow began to cultivate combat skills. He cultivated Heavenly Wilderness Absolute Kill, Space Slash and Space Rend. Bei Xing often came to chat with Night Sorrow and the others. Their friendship gradually deepened. "Night Sorrow, there seems to be something wrong recently. The people from the Ashen Clouds sect can't find you. They seem to be in cahoots with the Sky South dynasty. The Sky South dynasty once again issued an arrest warrant for you. This is definitely not a coincidence. They are colluding with each other," Bei Xing said when he came to Night Sorrow's place to drink tea again. "When I had a conflict with Sky South dynasty's Shang Jingxian on the stage, the people from the Ashen Cloud sect knew about it. Therefore, they couldn't find me. It's normal for them to ask the Sky South dynasty for help," Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. Trash. The internal grudges of the profound sky world can be resolved internally. Since you're doing this, I'll go and investigate further. You guys can continue living here peacefully. Also, I've already instructed the Heavenly Star restaurant to deliver banquets every night. Don't go out. Bei Xing left after speaking. Update new fastest, the situation is getting more and more serious. I don't know how much time it will give us. Night Sorrow exhaled and said. Then how long will it take for you to enter the king's realm? Zhu Jiuyun looked at Night Sorrow and asked. I don't know. The will of time is more difficult than the will of space. The speed will be slower. However, I will definitely be able to do it within 10 years. Night Sorrow said. Chapter 1041. Sang Wuzui was furious. After receiving the order from the sect, he had been searching for Night Sorrow in the profound sky world. If he could kill Night Sorrow and complete the mission, he would be valued by the Tsangyin monarch. However, it had been 5 years, and he couldn't even find Night Sorrow's shadow. How could Sang Wuzui not be angry when killing a clone was so difficult? Everyone knew that Night Sorrow's main body was cultivating in the Nine Heavens Tower. The Tsangyin monarch's plan was to kill Night Sorrow's clone first, but it was useless now. After failing to find Night Sorrow and bribing the disciples of the Tianding Gate, Sang Wuzui reported the situation to Tsang Qingyuan. Tsang Qingyuan thought for a moment and wrote a letter, asking Sang Wuzui to discuss cooperation with the Tian-Nan dynasty. The Tian-Nan dynasty, who had planned to kill Night Sorrow, immediately agreed. They sent out people to search for Night Sorrow while continuing to hunt him down. The only genuine one, the rest were stolen copies. The Tian-Nan dynasty's actions made many people feel disgusted. They were like a dog that bit people in its nest. Night Sorrow was still very stable. If you can't find him, I'll continue to do business and hoard resources. In any case, my main body is still cultivating. At this time, the Big Dipper King and Bei Xing arrived at Night Sorrow's mansion. Night Sorrow was refining the 5-spirit pill. After calling Zhu Jiuyan to receive the guests, Night Sorrow continued to refine pills. Father, our Celestial Master Pavilion's business is booming. The cultivators of the surrounding big forces all know that the Saint King pills and Saint King tools produced by our Celestial Master Pavilion are of top quality, Bei Xing said with a smile. And, to be able to refine the weapon in your hand, his attainments in the field of arrays are also at the Saint King level, so there is no problem with the quality of the Saint King tools, the Big Dipper King said with a smile. All-round talent, is this an all-round development? Bei Xing said with some surprise. Big Dipper King looked at Night Sorrow and nodded. At this moment, he had been observing Night Sorrow all this time because he could see the changes in Night Sorrow. It's rare for Big Dipper King to come here. Fortunately, I have some good tea here to entertain you. Night Sorrow took out the heart-cleansing tea and brewed a pot. Your original body has already gained insights? Big Dipper King asked. Yes, but I'm still trying to comprehend it. Night Sorrow nodded. That's still not right. I'm not trying to get to the bottom of this. I'm just curious. Do you have 2 types of will now? Big Dipper King asked. Yes, before the first Sage Conference of the 100 Worlds began, I had already comprehended 90% of the will of space. At that time, I forcefully stopped. This time, after entering the will of heaven and earth cave, I didn't want to waste this opportunity, so I stopped comprehending the will of space and went to comprehend another will of heaven and earth. Night Sorrow hesitated for a moment and didn't hide it. Big Dipper King's style of doing things was principled. Night Sorrow knew this and felt that Big Dipper King wouldn't have any devious thoughts. You can stop 90% of the will of space. Apart from you, I don't know who else can do it. Now that the flow of time around you has changed, you should be comprehending the will of time. I have to admit that I'm impressed. Big Dipper King looked at Night Sorrow and nodded continuously. Many people couldn't restrain their desire to enter the king's realm, but Night Sorrow had done it. Many times in life, we are faced with choices. A momentary gain or loss is nothing. Night Sorrow poured a cup of tea for Big Dipper King and said, "The fact that you can tell me this shows that you don't treat me as an outsider. Calm down and cultivate. I want to see what kind of waves they can stir up." Big Dipper King made a decision in his heart. He had to protect Night Sorrow. "Thank you, Lord King. If there is really trouble, I will run. When I have the strength, I will deal with them one by one," Night Sorrow said with a smile. "Haha. You are right. Life should be straightforward. Good tea." Big Dipper King said with a smile after taking a sip of tea. After chatting with Night Sorrow for a while, Big Dipper King left Night Sorrow's place with his daughter. "The sky is changing," Big Dipper King said as they walked on the street. "I don't quite understand what father means." North Star shook her head. Night Sorrow has 2 high-level wills of the world. Any one of them can allow him to show disdain for those of the same level. He can fight and kill opponents of a higher level. Now that he has entered the King realm, it will be difficult for anyone to kill him. Helping father on his path forward will be good for your future, Big Dipper King said as he patted the back of his daughter's head. He is indeed very strong. North Star also admired Night Sorrow. Without a backer, it was very difficult for him to reach his current level. His outlook on life is very righteous. He is not an evil person. He is a very good friend. Don't think about benefits in your heart. Try to get along with him wholeheartedly. This will be of great help to your future, Big Dipper King said to his daughter. Inside Night Sorrow's mansion, Night Sorrow was chatting with Wu Lingfei and the others. This Big Dipper King is a very righteous person, Zhu Jiuyan said. Yes. To be able to raise such a righteous daughter like North Star, this means that there is no problem with his outlook on life. Night Sorrow nodded. In that case, we can still stay here peacefully for a while. Under the king's watch, the other party will not be able to act recklessly. They will also not be able to use their big moves to find us, Shueshi said. Our days are stable now. If we are discovered, we can't hide here. I will find another place. It won't be easy for them to find us even if we want to hide, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Wu Lingfei and the others nodded. If Night Sorrow wanted to hide now, it would be very difficult for others to find him. Without any signs, Night Sorrow continued to cultivate. Every day, he would concoct pills, forge weapons, and cultivate battle skills. On this day, after Night Sorrow finished his cultivation, North Star came to drink tea. Boss North Star, I haven't been here for a few days. Night Sorrow smiled and waved his hand. Hee hee. You are the boss. North Star looked at Night Sorrow with disdain, sat down, and poured himself a cup of tea. North Star then told Night Sorrow that people from the Demon Moon world had also entered the Sky Profound world to investigate his background and so on. These bastards are here too. They are really shameless. I feel that the Demon Moon Monarch is the most shameless. His own people are not a match for him and he still wants to fight, Shueshi said. Big fist and shameless. You can be considered as the invincible type. Your days won't be good if you continue like this. North Star said. Then what can I do? If there is no other way, I can only hide deep in the mountains and forests and not come out, Night Sorrow said. What a useless idea. I have a backup mansion. If the other party comes here, you guys can go to my mansion. Would they dare to search my mansion? I don't believe it. North Star looked at Night Sorrow and said. Then how can I repay you? Night Sorrow asked. Don't talk about repayment. That's not interesting. What do you think I lack? North Star looked at Night Sorrow and said. You have King as your father. What do you lack? Night Sorrow muttered. You idiot. It's not like I don't have armor now. North Star shouted at Night Sorrow. On the first day of the new year, Night Sorrow bowed to all the fans of Myriad Daos Ascension. Thank you for your support for Myriad Daos Ascension in the past half a year. I wish you all the best in the new year and have a happy family. Chapter 1042. All right. Night Sorrow glanced at Bei Xing as he took out the blueprint. Then wait a moment. I haven't decided yet, Bei Xing said with a smile. Night Sorrow nodded helplessly. Bei Xing said that he needed armor, so he had to refine it. After all, they were friends and did not care about benefits. After Bei Xing left, the people of the Heavenly Star Pavilion delivered the food to the Celestial Master Pavilion. The waiters of the Celestial Master Pavilion delivered the food to Night Sorrow's residence. This was arranged by Bei Xing, mainly because he did not want Night Sorrow's identity to be exposed. After eating and chatting with Wu Lingfei and the others, Night Sorrow continued to cultivate his spacetime attribute battle skill. As the people of the Moon Demon Realm joined the investigation, they discovered that Night Sorrow was last seen in Big Dipper City. After Tsang Wuzue appeared in Big Dipper City, he was stopped by a sloppily dressed man. "Who are you? Why are you stopping me?" Tsang Wuzue asked the sloppily dressed man. "Why am I stopping you? This is Big Dipper City, my master's territory." "Who are you? How dare you barge in?" the sloppily dressed man said as he ran his fingers through his hair. "I am Tsang Wuzue of the Sky Dome Realm's Ashen Cloud sect. I am here to look for someone," Tsang Wuzue said as he cupped his fists. "I only know Boundless Mountain in the Sky Dome Realm. Go back to where you came from. Big Dipper City does not welcome you," the sloppily dressed man said impatiently as he waved his hand. "Is that necessary? I am here to look for someone." Tsang Wuzue's expression changed. This sloppily dressed man was stronger than him. Looking for someone? Big Dipper City does not welcome the Sovereign King. Others can come as they please, I don't care either. However, the Sovereign King cannot come. The sloppy man directly ordered the guests to leave. Tsang Wuzue hesitated for a moment before leaving. He could not act strong. If he insisted on entering Big Dipper City, there would be a battle. A conflict between king and king would lead to a war between the two factions. "Who do you think you are to be so arrogant in our Big Dipper City?" The sloppily dressed man also left and went to the Heavenly Star restaurant. "Third senior brother, you've come." Bei Xing, who was drinking tea in Tian Xing building, said. "I'm here. I just chased away a fly. However, junior sister, you promised third senior brother that you'll give us enough good wine," the sloppy man said with a smile. "Of course, senior brother, you can drink if you want in the future. Besides, when have I ever been short of third senior brother's wine?" Bei Xing pulled the scruffy-looking man's arm and said. The sloppy man looked no different from a beggar, but his reputation in Big Dipper City was extremely high. His name was Greedy Wolf King. Third senior brother has seen that kid. Master didn't make a mistake. He's a very good young man. Greedy Wolf King followed Heavenly Star into a private room to drink. After Tsang Wuzue left Big Dipper City, he met with Yuan Shinba. Hearing Tsang Wuzue's words, Yuan Shinba was a bit worried. Big Dipper King was not someone to be trifled with. Sky South Dynasty did not have the strength, and they were not as strong as Big Dipper City. The problem is that Night Sorrow is very likely to be in Big Dipper City. "Now that they're blocking us, we can't use force," Yuan Shinba said. "This is a stalemate. It's useless to send out peak Holy Kings and half-step King level Holy Kings. No one is a match for him." Tsang Wuzue sighed. Night Sorrow was the strongest Holy King. He was the strongest person below King level. If the King did not come to Big Dipper City, it would be useless to meet Night Sorrow. "Your Grey Cloud sect is using a one-on-one revenge method. Since Big Dipper City is blocking us, you can go back and ask the Grey Cloud Monarch to step in." Yuan Shinba thought for a moment and gave Tsang Wuzue some ideas. Tsang Wuzue nodded. This was the only thing he could do. After hearing Tsang Wuzue's report, the Grey Cloud Monarch's eyes were filled with coldness. "All right, I'll take you there. Let's see who dares to block us." The Grey Cloud Monarch thought for a moment and made a decision. When the Grey Cloud Monarch and Tsang Wuzue came out of the World Teleportation Array, an old man in a brocade robe appeared in front of them. It was the Black Heaven Monarch. "Grey Cloud, you've crossed the line," the Black Heaven Monarch said coldly. "It's not that I've crossed the line. It's your profound sky world that doesn't abide by the rules. Wuzue wants to go to Big Dipper City, but they stopped him. Isn't this inappropriate? My Grey Cloud sect only sent a 2-star monarch. This is within the rules. Now that your monarch has interfered, we will continue to send people," the Grey Cloud Monarch said. "Go back to your Grey Cloud sect. I'll take care of things here. Remember, if you dare to touch anyone other than Night Sorrow, I won't let your people go back alive," the Black Heaven Monarch said coldly. The Gray Cloud Monarch snorted and left on the teleportation array. He came to open the path to Big Dipper City. It was against the rules for the Big Dipper City King to block the way. Afterward, the Gray Cloud Monarch called Xian Zhenyu and told him to inform the Big Dipper King not to interfere with the Gray Cloud sex entry. However, if anyone broke the rules in Big Dipper City, they would be killed immediately. Inside Big Dipper City, Xian Zhenyu told the Big Dipper King about his intentions and the Black Heaven Monarch's intentions. There's nothing we can do. Tell the monarch that if it doesn't work, we'll just fight. Don't think we're afraid of them, the Big Dipper King said. Forever P free #, it's true. We're not afraid, but the consequences of fighting are too severe. Let's not fight with them for now. We just need to protect Night Sorrow, Xian Zhenyu said. Night Sorrow is indeed in Big Dipper City. I'll think of a way to protect him. However, the Sky South dynasty is too hateful. Aren't they betraying us? The Big Dipper King said angrily. We'll talk about them after this matter is resolved. They really have no bottom line. Xian Zhenyu was also very angry. Okay, then we'll wait for the monarch's arrangements. The Big Dipper King nodded. After sending Xian Zhenyu off, the Big Dipper King went to Night Sorrow's mansion. Without saying anything, he wrapped Night Sorrow in energy and left the mansion. A moment later, he brought Night Sorrow to his courtyard. Lord Monarch, what happened? Night Sorrow asked. The problem is a little serious. Some time ago, my disciples stopped the other party's king from entering Big Dipper City. As a result, they said that Big Dipper City broke the rules. The Tsangyan monarch came personally. If I stopped them again, a war would be inevitable. A war wouldn't benefit anyone, so we can only take a step back. They can investigate Big Dipper City if they want to. You just stay here with me, the Big Dipper monarch explained to Night Sorrow what had happened recently. Then it's not appropriate for me to stay here. If it doesn't work out, I'll leave. I'll go back to our small world and let them do what they want, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a moment. You can't go back now. Their people should already be in Two Polarity City. The Demon Moon Realm and the traitorous Sky South dynasty must have thought of this. You just stay here. Who would dare to investigate my lair? The Big Dipper King said with a smile. Chapter 1043. Just stay here. They won't be that bold. Bei Xing has also appeared. She was very happy to see Night Sorrow and the others. Then I'll have to trouble Big Dipper King. Night Sorrow will remember your help today. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Big Dipper King. You and Bei Xing are friends, so you're naturally my junior. It's only right that you take care of her. If I shrink back today, how am I supposed to face my heart in the future? Am I supposed to regret my decision every day and night? Big Dipper King looked at Night Sorrow and said. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that this was Big Dipper King. Big Dipper King patted Night Sorrow's shoulder and said, It's true that the current world of cultivators is a mess, but no matter what others do, we should all have a beautiful pure land in our hearts. If you want to thank me, then take care of my immature daughter. Big Dipper King patted Night Sorrow's shoulder. Lord King, you're exaggerating. I've met many of your disciples. Not only does Miss Bei Xing not have an arrogant aura, she's also very generous. Night Sorrow said with a smile. That's good. You youngsters can continue chatting. I still have some matters to take care of. Remember, if you hear the sound of wind chimes, it means that someone is investigating. You must immediately hide. After giving his instructions, the North Star Sovereign left. Come, let's go to my place. It's usually empty and quiet. It'll be lively with you guys here. Bei Xing pulled Wu Lingfei and led them to her courtyard. She then called for the servants to prepare tea for them. I'll help you refine a defensive armor in the next few days. Night Sorrow said. There's no rush. You're here as guests. Bei Xing said with a smile. Night Sorrow, the manor doesn't occupy a large area. If the other party uses their soul power to investigate carefully, they'll find something. Wu Lingfei said. This is really a drawback, but there's nothing we can do about it. Let's wait until they dare to investigate. Bei Xing said. But if we are discovered, it will bring trouble to your father. I wonder if it would be convenient for me to set up an isolation array here? Night Sorrow asked. Sure. Not being discovered is good for everyone. If you are discovered, it will be troublesome for my father. North Star nodded. After that, Night Sorrow began to set up the 1000 development illusory formation. At this moment, Night Sorrow had already changed the 1000 development illusory formation. It was a peak Saint King formation. After setting up Night Sorrow, he clapped his hands. Everyone, stay alert. As long as you hear the wind chimes, you can throw your spirit stones into the ground. The array will instantly activate and isolate us from detection. Bei Xing was very surprised. Although she heard from her father that Night Sorrow could refine a Saint King weapon, he must be a Saint King formation master. But Night Sorrow's speed in setting up the array was too fast. Although she didn't know the effect, there was no doubt about it. After that, Night Sorrow asked Bei Xing for the armor blueprint. Originally, Night Sorrow wanted to help Bei Xing refine the armor with his own materials, but Bei Xing had already prepared the materials. Looking at the blueprint that Bei Xing took out, Night Sorrow first used ordinary materials to refine a spirit armor. After the experiment was successful, Night Sorrow began to refine the armor. Bei Xing took the spirit armor that Night Sorrow had refined first and studied it. It took a lot of time to refine a high-grade armor. Yishang used 7 days to refine a high-grade Saint King artifact armor. After Bei Xing took the armor and recognized it as its owner, she put it on. The silver armor suited Bei Xing very well. You have 3 attributes and the armor also has 3 attributes. As for how to use it, that's your problem. Night Sorrow said. With that, Yishang picked up the test piece of armor on the table and threw it into the crafting furnace. What are you doing? Bei Xing stretched out her arm and caught the armor in her hand. A spirit armor is useless. This armor is not suitable for others to use. It's better to break it down into materials. Night Sorrow said. What a wastrel. This is a spirit armor. I'll keep it. Bei Xing put the spirit armor into her storage ring. It's not convenient for me to go to the Celestial Master Pavilion now. Go take a look and see if there are any custom orders. Bring them back for me to refine. Also, collect the space iron and time purple sand. Night Sorrow said to Bei Xing, why do you collect the space iron and time purple sand? I think I have time purple sand in my warehouse. Bei Xing thought for a moment and said. I also want to make an armor for myself. I need materials that are compatible with my attributes. But it's too difficult. Night Sorrow said. Okay, I'll arrange it. Bei Xing said and left. Night Sorrow, how is the original body's comprehension going? Wu Lingfei asked Night Sorrow. The original body is still comprehending. Because the soul power is all comprehending, it can't synchronize with the clone. I don't know what it is. Night Sorrow shook his head. Don't worry. We should be safe here. I don't think the people of the Grey Cloud sect are brave enough to come to Big Dipper King's place to investigate. Zhu Jiuyun said. Night Sorrow nodded. Big Dipper King wasn't the new king. He was the leader of a force. Some new kings wouldn't dare to mess around. While Night Sorrow was cultivating, Bei Xing returned. Here. This is the time purple sand I found in my warehouse. I don't have any spatial essence iron. Also, here are the blueprints and materials for custom-made weapons. Bei Xing placed a few items on the table. Night Sorrow opened a bag and saw that it was filled with thumb-sized purple stones. This was the time purple sand that Bei Xing had mentioned. It was an extremely precious material. Bei Xing, this isn't appropriate. Night Sorrow said. Did you ask for compensation for refining my armor? Did I mention anything about compensation? Now that I've pointed out the materials, you're saying it's not appropriate. Do you think of me as a friend? Bei Xing looked at Night Sorrow angrily. Fine. Don't be angry. I'll take it. I'll take it, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Friends don't bicker about this. However, we won't be able to eat a big meal. The Sky South Dynasty's lackeys, Moon Demon World's people, and Grey Cloud Sect's people have all arrived at Big Dipper City. It's best to be careful. Don't worry. We just eat to find a feeling. As for cooking, they can do it too. Night Sorrow said with a smile. It's just that I feel a little aggrieved. These people are too hateful. They can't even afford to play. What happened at the first sacred ceremony of the 100 Worlds, and now they're swaggering around to take revenge. Their faces have been eaten by dogs, Bei Xing cursed angrily. It's fine. Let them do what they want. I'll settle this account with them. However, I don't have the strength right now, so I have to endure, Night Sorrow said. Good attitude. Let's not talk about the Grey Cloud Sect and Moon Demon World for now. Sky South Dynasty must be dealt with. They're too despicable. I've never seen such despicable people. Their king has also arrived at Big Dipper City. It can be said that they've already shed all pretense of cordiality, Bei Xing said. Chapter 1044. If they do this, won't they become the public enemy of the Sky Profound World? Night Sorrow asked. V Genuine First Release. The Emperor of the Sky South Dynasty didn't show up. When the time comes, he can say that his subordinates acted on their own. After the other party retreats, who can find trouble with them? You? You don't have the ability, and the other forces aren't willing to fight to the death with them. If they fight to the death with the Sky South Dynasty, they will also suffer great losses. This is the Sky South Dynasty's plan. Bei Xing analyzed for Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and knew that the truth was just as Bei Xing said. Indeed, no one was willing to fight to the death with the Sky South Dynasty. Not the Tianding Gate, not the Big Dipper City. After all, the Sky South Dynasty had several kings. My father also told me that the old emperor of the Sky South Dynasty is a very upright person. His cultivation is also a high-level king's. However, the Sky South Dynasty is different from before. If anyone wants to touch the Sky South Dynasty, they have to consider the old emperor. Bei Xing told Night Sorrow some unknown things. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that the old emperor of the Sky South Dynasty was Yi Qianhua's grandfather. He was a very famous king in the Sky Profound World. At the same time, Night Sorrow also understood that he didn't have any backing or background. It was rare for someone to be willing to protect him, so the Sky South Dynasty wasn't worried that someone would stand up for Night Sorrow. You still have to work hard. When you enter the king's realm, the situation will change and they will be afraid. Bei Xing said. Strength. Night Sorrow understood that everything depended on strength. With strength, everything would change. After that, Night Sorrow continued to forging the custom-made list that Bei Xing gave him. Right now, the Celestial Master Pavilion was very famous and had a good reputation. It had a great reputation in the surrounding regions. In the Sky Profound World, there were some kings, but Saint Kings were the mainstream of cultivators, so there was a great demand for Saint King's tools. Refining a normal Saint Ruler artifact was different from refining weapons and armors for Bei Xing. It wasn't as complicated. Night Sorrow could refine one every 3 to 4 days. Once it was done, Night Sorrow would hand it over to Northstar. Haha. Normally, when customizing weapons and pills, the ratio is 3 sets of materials for one finished product. However, alchemists and blacksmiths have the possibility of failure. If they fail twice, their efforts will be in vain. If they fail 3 times, they will have to compensate the other party with materials. Although you are only accepting 2 sets of materials, it is still a steady profit, Bei Xing said with a smile. It's all right. Since there's nothing else to do, let's just store up more resources. Knight Sorrow nodded. Knight Sorrow's life was relatively quiet. He earned a large amount of resources from alchemy and refining tools. In addition, Knight Sorrow also cultivated his combat skills every day. The power of his absolute kill of Heavenly Wasteland had greatly increased. With the support of the Will of Time, the power of the technique's time acceleration was on a completely different level from before. Knight Sorrow's greatest achievement during this period of time was his movement technique. The Will of Space could cut through space and block space, while the Will of Time could increase the flow of time. This greatly increased his speed. At this time, Big Dipper City was already in a state of chaos. Various forces had swarmed into the city, but there was still no news of Knight Sorrow's whereabouts. Zhang Wuzui and Yuan Xinba had searched every possible place in Big Dipper City, but there was still no trace of Knight Sorrow. Afterward, they thought of a place that they had yet to investigate, Big Dipper King's Big Dipper Manor. However, they didn't dare to go to the Big Dipper Manor. Big Dipper King was a veteran king. If they angered the king, they wouldn't have a good ending. According to the revenge rules, no one was allowed to participate. Even Big Dipper King couldn't participate. If they did, it would be a battle between forces. The Celestial Realm had no intention of starting a battle between forces. However, if someone went to Big Dipper King's manor to provoke him, they would die in vain. Regarding this point, the Sangyan monarch couldn't say anything. The king's dignity couldn't be blasphemed. Even he couldn't change this fact. General Yuan, how should we deal with this matter? Right now, only the Big Dipper Manor hasn't been searched. In addition, according to our information, Knight Sorrow was last seen in Big Dipper City. He hasn't been seen leaving since. In addition, Big Dipper King stopped me from entering Big Dipper City. This means that Knight Sorrow is in Big Dipper City, Zhang Wuzui said. But if we go to Big Dipper King's Big Dipper Manor to investigate, it will be a provocation. Not only will we cause trouble, but we will also be in the wrong. Yuan Xinba was still somewhat afraid. He was a king, but his king and Big Dipper King weren't on the same level. Whether it was in terms of status or strength, they weren't on the same level. Greetings. You go to his mansion to pay a visit and investigate while you're at it, Zhang Wuzui stated his opinion. No, you have to have the same status to pay a visit. I will report to the Emperor and let the Emperor pay a visit to Big Dipper King. This is reasonable. Yuan Xinba said. He didn't have the qualifications to pay a visit to Big Dipper King. Big Dipper King wouldn't give him face. He didn't even have the qualifications to enter Big Dipper Manor. Zhang Wuzui nodded. Yuan Xinba didn't say it directly because he was afraid of losing face. He was a king, so he wasn't a fool. Naturally, he knew what was going on. At this time, Big Dipper King was also somewhat prepared. His junior brother Big Dipper King and disciple Big Dipper King were both in Big Dipper City. It was fine if no one messed around, but if someone messed around, then the result would be a war. Yuan Xinba returned to Tiannan Dynasty and reported the situation to Shang Tianfeng. Shang Tianfeng didn't say anything. He kept thinking. If it was an ordinary enemy, he wouldn't pay attention to it. However, Knight Sorrow was different. The Yi clan and Tiannan Dynasty were mortal enemies. If Knight Sorrow grew up, then he would definitely fight to the death with Tiannan Dynasty. In the past, Shang Tianfeng didn't care much about it. However, he couldn't ignore it now. Knight Sorrow was a half-step king with high-grade willpower. Once he entered the king realm, he would be a great threat. Now was the opportunity. Killing a soul doppelganger wasn't a big deal under normal circumstances. After all, it wasn't the main body. However, it was different now. If Knight Sorrow's soul doppelganger fell at this time, then it would directly hurt the soul of the main body. Even if the main body was in the cavern, it would be difficult for it to comprehend anything. Fine, I will go to Big Dipper City and pay a visit to Big Dipper. I want to see if Night Sorrow is there or not. However, this can be considered as offending him too much. Shang Tianfeng said. When Shang Tianfeng stepped out of the teleportation array, he was stopped. It was the second king of Big Dipper City, the North Pole King. What business does Overlord Shang have in my Big Dipper City? The North Star Lord looked at Shang Tianfeng coldly. It's like this. I have some matters to discuss with Big Dipper King. Please lead the way, North Pole King, Shang Tianfeng said. It's not that you can't see my senior brother. However, remember this. You people from Tiannan Dynasty have to behave yourselves in my Big Dipper City. Once you cross the line, you can't go back, the North Star Lord said. I won't do that. Please rest assured, Brother North Pole. I'll have to trouble Brother North Pole to notify me, Shang Tianfeng said. The North Pole King sized Shang Tianfeng up, but he didn't say anything. You're tuning into the Dreamy Love Stories YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.